Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast we review every segment of Raw and give you guys the wrestling news of the week and news involving dick pictures.
Yay!
Yay!
No dick pics, kids.
Yeah, the name that wasn't on those particular pictures is my own name, the host of this show, Turbo Tony, and we're here with the hardcore legend, Cactus Matt.
Would it be Mactus Jack?
No, I thought Cactus Matt would be the better way around.
Okay.
I'm just sometimes you. I know there was one name I did like ages ago that you completely like made it so much better, and I just felt like
just spun it on you.
Yeah, exactly. How you doing this week, anyway?
Yeah, pretty good, man. And yourself?
Yes, not too bad. It's we've got a packed show. The notes for this show just kept expanding over time. Just going out of control, so you can imagine a packed show for our fans there this week. And as always, before I forget to plug the Twitter, as Chris Jericho likes to, so eloquently say, it is at Talk Wrestle Pod, and you could have found out Matt's views on the NXT special that was this week. And we will be reviewing that on the show.
My views, all I literally did was just like, that match was really good.
Yeah, we're not exactly breaking away from the norm, from our usual, NXT is fantastic. We're pretty much going with that. Spoiler alert, but I guess everyone else saw that as well. But
NXT is fantastic? That's not really a spoiler. That's just a statement.
It's just a statement, yeah. But as we said, we've got a packed show. A show so big that I had to remove one of our weekly segments just for this week. I know, stop the presses. Whew. I hope you guys don't mind.
It's the fan feedback.
No, that's staying. Don't worry. So let me show you what we've got on there for you this week. We've got the news, and as we said, we've got some big news to talk about. Some massive talking points over a certain scandal. 2 scandals this week, I'd state. In the news. We also got a fan feedback as well. We got a few questions from a few listeners who haven't asked any questions before, so it'll be interesting to answer their questions as well. And with the regulars to our old saloon, in the wild west of podcasting, of course. And instead of fail of the week, that's right, fail of the week is making a skip today. You could say that the fail of the week failed to show up this week. If you like to look at it that way. But we have replaced it with our NXT review. We will be reviewing the NXT TakeOver Rival event, which was on Wednesday night, and both myself and Matt have watched it fully. So,
yeah. In fact, it took priority to Raw.
Yeah,
I got Raw to watch.
Of course,
I've also got NXT to watch. I know which one I want to watch.
I remember like the last special that we had. It was like pretty much exactly the same. We had a really bad Raw, and like you were just like, I can't even remember what happened on Raw. It's just like it's NXT.
Same thing.
So,
same sort of thing this week, to be fair.
Yeah, so we got the Raw review at the end of the show as well, and there are a few interesting talking points about the build up to WrestleMania. A few big misfires, I would state, on this show this week, but we'll get into that as well. But we'll tell you exactly what we feel about that, considering we were very hugely critical of the first hour of Raw last week. Hopefully they can give us something a little bit better.
That's it.
Let's get into the news there, Matt. So, let me pose this question to you and to all of our fans. Considering that we had the massive celebrity photo scandal leak last year, right?
The fappening, yeah.
The fappening, as it's so eloquently been dubbed.
So eloquently named, yeah.
And you know how easy it is now for people to access your internet accounts, and for even the classic of people finding it in your phone and and sharing it without your consent or accidentally sending said pictures. Do you have any intention now to take the zipper of your pants down, take your phone, and take a picture of your penis?
Oh, I don't really have a need for a junk shot.
No, to be honest. Well,
I mean, it's so glorious, I don't really want to sort of bring it out onto the world.
You'll break the internet like Kim Kardashian, man. Oh, dear. um, enough of your penis talk aside, of course. What a way to start off the show there, Matt. Big news, I said.
Hooray!
So obviously we're talking about the Seth Rollins nude photo leak that happened. Let me explain exactly what happened during Raw. This all occurred. First, I believe I didn't catch. Obviously, I was in bed at the time. I don't watch Raw live, of course. But photos were leaked of a NXT upstart, which we've spoken about on this channel before. We were asked about this woman.
She's not made it out yet.
Yeah, Zara Scriber, and a nude picture was leaked of her, and then following that, two pictures were leaked of Rollins, and it's full frontal. You see everything. It is a dick pic, essentially, both of them. So yeah, this is on the official Twitter handle, no less. So this is an absolute disaster for Rollins and for WWE that this occurred.
Yeah.
There was an apology put after the tweets, after Rollins had cleaned all the mess up, stating that, I apologise to the fans for these photographs that were leaked without my consent. It was a very WWE legal response, that particular Twitter thing. So here we go. Where do we begin? Who gets the blame for this thing happening? And the big question is, really, do we think that these pictures will impact Seth Rollins and, to a lesser degree, Zara Scriber's career in the long run? Right? I have bad news for Seth Rollins fans. The answer is yes, it will.
You reckon?
Outright. Completely. People who don't think it's not going to affect his career are fooling themselves, in my opinion. Okay, lesser stuff has been done to invoke a harsher response. Now, Seth obviously is going to get somewhat protected. He's one of their big talents going forward. They have plans for him.
Oh yeah.
But the very idea that WWE are going to brush this under the rug and just forgive him as if everything's happened, no. To me, definitely not. Now, that's not to state that he won't be champion, that he won't go on to have a successful career. I firmly believe he will. I'm not saying that he won't do an Emma and suddenly just start getting forgotten.
Disappearing off into nothing, yeah.
Don't think that will be the case. But this will, at very, very, very least, slow down the speed of his career, because WWE are going to be worried about focusing on him too much, that this becomes too much of a public thing. And it was public to begin with.
Yeah. That was true.
I've heard that management are worried at the fact that there was a radio show, a national radio show, talking about this. That it was obviously leaked so publicly. It wasn't as if it was leaked and put on these sites that you have to struggle to find. It was on his Twitter account. So it's not hard.
On the official one as well.
So
it's not even like it was leaked on his sort of personal. It was on the WWE provided one.
Yes, exactly, with their handle on it.
Yeah.
That's the big thing there. So there will be some impact, right? Just realistically.
It's one thing about the whole thing that sort of confuses me though, is with my work, we have a Twitter account for the location.
Mm.
We need training and all things like that. It's like, these are the sort of things, and it's sort of unavoidable with the whole, well, it's not like he put it up there himself, but it's sort of like, there is a certain password, and it's just like me and only one other person knows it, so no one can do that. No one can just sort of get hold of the phone and just go, send off sort of anything inappropriate. And I sort of wonder whether that's the same deal with sort of the WWE handles.
See,
it's just one of those things. It's just like Rollins' own personal mobile phone links directly to essentially company property.
Well,
in the Twitter handle.
Yeah, no, I completely get what you're stating there, and the very idea that you might accidentally send on your work handle the wrestling tweets for our handle is just quite funny to me. It's like, oh, whoops! Oh, Matt Plins has a deal on WWE Network. What's going on here? So
I
The
can't even have it on my own phone. We have a dedicated phone for it.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, of course. See, the thing is here that the whole news about it is that the person who leaked them. Here we go into personal stuff, and I'm not going to go into. I'll talk about the reasons why we're not going to go too deep into the personal love triangle that seems to be going on here. But essentially, Seth Rollins' fiance found out that he was having at least some sort of sexual relationship or something
Yeah,
along those lines with Zara Scriber from NXT, and she leaked them. Right, she got into his account
yeah,
whatever way and leaked them. Right, um, so hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, but still. I don't agree with the fact that she did this, and she could face criminal charge for doing so.
hmm
Especially the fact that she went on her Twitter account and confirmed that she did it.
yeah.
Um, So I'm not going to go into, oh well, Seth Rollins, he cheated on his fiancee, so he deserves everything he gets, and Zara, she must have known that he was with someone. Well, I'm not going to comment on people's personal issues. I don't know them for sure, and I ain't a bloody therapist, so I ain't going to go into all that. But legally standing, his fiancee, if she was the one who leaked it, I wouldn't be too surprised if legal proceedings were pushed.
That's it.
Even if it's not so
It's
much
definitely going to be a case of time for her to shit a brick.
yeah, it's not even so much that maybe he wants to win a court case. It's because of the precedence of it and the fact
Hell have
that
no fury like WWE
yeah,
scorned.
exactly, yeah. So the one person that I think in terms of their future in the company and who really got dicked on with the whole situation that maybe was outside of their control is Zara Scriber from NXT. She
Yeah.
had her pictures leaked, which is obviously not great for her and personal reasons and everything along these lines. But now she has been under fire a lot. I saw like a picture put up on like Triple H's Facebook, and people just blasting her because she was in the picture. About
It
she's
was
such a
in
slut
the
and stuff
crowd at
like that.
NXT, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm like, this woman's going to start her career, and it's going to be
Already with a taint.
yeah, with tainted, yeah, exactly. Now, one thing I did think of is that man, if this was the Attitude Era, who would become Rollins' valet like that. Exactly, she'd have
Yeah,
a career just done. But because this is the age of
the
political
reality era.
correctness, yeah, exactly. Realistically, she is actually the one that will probably get the most affected from it, and it's a bit of
Yeah.
a shame because, like I said, I'm not going to go into personal issues. Some people might say, "Oh, she completely deserved it for sleeping with a guy that with a girlfriend." People, it's funny that people say this and yet they don't go and blast Edge and Lita for exactly the same thing when they did it. Um, it's
Times. Different times, weren't it?
yeah, it's personal issues. I'm not going to go into relationships, right? That's not what we do here. We're going to talk about the way that it goes into wrestling, and like I said, anyone who thinks that this isn't going to, in a very least, some small way, impact the pair of them, are deluding themselves.
Yeah.
It will impact them. However, I give this warning to any celebrity, no matter how minor you are. If you decide to take a naked picture of yourself, doesn't matter if you think it's connected to the internet or not, you are running a risk of that becoming public. I urge any celebrity who listens to this podcast in the future, if you even are thinking it, you should have already got the message by now. Turn your fucking phone off and don't take any pictures at all. Period. Okay? Because more than likely, as we have found out, hundreds of celebrities have had their nude photos leaked. Get get with the program right by now. When you do it, you are asking for that risk to be put upon you, no matter how safe you might be. So that's. I mean, the fact is, to be honest, with all the stuff that happened last year, and I'm guessing that Rollins was careful, but obviously not careful enough considering all these things going on. When he took those pictures or received those pictures, he was under a risk at that point of these
Yeah.
things getting out. Um, and there you are. The rest is the rest is history, really, and it will be interesting to see how much that does affect him going forward. But it will. People are deluding themselves if they think it won't. That's the bottom part of it. Here we go. So with that whole issue, like I said, I do kind of blame his fiance because it is illegal to do that. The very fact that she might be getting back at it, but kids have that Twitter handle as well. So getting these pictures come up on Twitter, and it's partly Twitter's fault that they allow that sort of stuff to go on anyway. But anyway, let's move on to the second scandal. If you thought I was even remotely pissed off, which I'm not really about the nude photo leak, in fact, it was just in a weird, strange sort of way. It was interesting to see how this all developed over time.
Yeah.
This one gets me very angry. Darren Young, he's as far as I know, he's on a tour, or he was on a tour in Abu Dhabi, and he had some problems with their extremely anti-gay stance in the country, and
Yeah.
he posted a few tweets, in my opinion, rightly blasting the culture for attacking his way of life,
That's it.
making his statement in regards to being a gay man in the wrestling world and being proud of being so, which he has
Yep.
the right,
Openly gay. Yeah.
yeah, which he has the right to do, right? And I don't particularly blame the people of Abu Dhabi. Culture shocks. Whatever. I'm not going to go into that. The people I'll blast here is WWE management. WWE likes to have this stance that they are equal opportunities, that they will fight for the rights, and everyone, they're the company of today. If you're gay, lesbian, they're still behind you. They want this perception that they are equal opportunities and they're for equal rights for all genders and sexual orientations, right?
Yeah.
That's how they want to perceive themselves. I'll tell you what, it kind of shows exactly really how much they really want to stand by their morals of equal rights when they tell the man to delete his tweets
Yeah.
by defending the fact that he's gay.
Yeah. It's sort of just like, I'm openly gay and what of it? And they're like, when it first came out, they were like, oh yeah, it's fine. We're so happy for him. And now it's just like, okay, reel it in a bit.
They almost promoted it, the fact that he was
Yeah.
gay, and yet
It's
suddenly,
not like the fact that he's sort of going on a whole sort of like, it sounds terrible for me to sort of word it like this, but on like a fairy run, sort of just like, I'm gay, and sort of sticking on a big musical about it. He's just sort of defending, he's just saying, I still can't believe that there are places in this world that are still so against homosexuality.
yeah, which he has his right to
It
do
was
so.
a simple thing, yeah.
Yeah, the fact is that the man's way of life is being pushed against. There, he's got
Is
a right to
accepted,
push
yeah,
back.
like is accepted in most places, and the fact that they've gone somewhere and he's just like, I still can't believe there are places so backward.
Yeah, and not as if he blasted the people as well. I thought his tweets were, at very least, somewhat well worded. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, and then WWE, who like to have the perception that they're totally pro-gay, lesbian, LGBT, all that, which we are on this show. Obviously, why we're blasting WWE for this. It shows just how much they really want to stick to their morals of their equal rights movement when they pull off crap like this. So they're too afraid of maybe pissing someone off by sticking
yeah,
by what they want their company to be like. And ultimately, and this is the same for the majority of companies. I'm not deluding myself, but we're a wrestling show here. We talk about WWE. It goes to show that if they've got money to lose by standing on their feet and stating we're behind our gay wrestler
yeah,
and we agree with his right to speak as he does, then they're not going to do it because they lose money for doing it,
yeah,
right? And that's essentially what they've done here. I think it's a crime. I personally do. I think WWE should be put on trial for not in trial is in court, but what I mean is, socially put on trial and stated, are you really on this bandwagon? Are you really behind the fact that you do have a gay wrestler? Are you going to let him voice his concerns when he chooses to do so? And this is more telling, I think, that WWE want to micromanage everything. And yeah, I get that if CM Punk says, "Oh, I shit my pants in the ring and I don't want to do it," that's one thing. But trying to stop a man from defending his right to be a gay man, I think that's
yeah. It's
completely
someone else,
wrong.
yeah,
I think that's immoral, personally. And maybe we do have a vested interest in this, myself and Matt, um, because we do have friends who are in the LGBT. I've got family who's in the LGBT
family, yep,
community. And I find it personally quite offensive. And I think that Darren Young should find it offensive from WWE to do that. Personally, I think it's a disgrace. I think WWE should, as a company, look in the mirror and be ashamed of the fact that they had to, that they thought they had to do that, and they did it. Um, I think that this got shoved under the rug a little bit with the Seth Rollins stuff because that was more shocking.
Yeah,
But
I think it was more prominent. I think more people have Rollins on Twitter than they do
yeah, rightly, yeah. And
Darren
because
Young. But yeah,
because we'll call it as is. Seth Rollins is a bigger star than Darren Young. There's no way of getting
yeah,
around that, right? And it's a more, what I should say, attractive story for these people, because there's boobs and dicks involved, right? But this one I think is way more important, way more telling, and it's way more indicative to the way that WWE goes about their business. And any time that they run any of these commercials stating we are all for LGBT and we're all for this cause and all for this cause, it's because they're making them it's because it makes them money, to be perceived in that way. They're not willing to stand by their guns, and I was extremely
it's the
disappointed.
publicity.
Yeah, if I were Darren Young,
Yeah,
I'd get out of the company. No paycheck is worth working for a company that ain't really on board. And I'm sure I reckon he could do a lot of damage to them, if he were to go, and really, really slam the company for not really being on board with it.
yeah.
But there we are. Is there anything else you want to say about those news stories before we carry on?
No, not really. I think I'm good.
Yeah, that whole Darren Young situation that pissed me off way more than the Seth Rollins thing, and honestly, next time they run one of those fucking advertisements, I will rip it to shreds, and I will enjoy doing so. Okay, I really will.
Yeah,
Fan feedback, see, we go from a low to an absolute high. That's the way we do it on this show. When we have to talk about stuff that isn't that great, in all these situations, we talk about our fans. It just always perks us up. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
exactly.
Here we go. Mr. Video Uploads asks us if we have played the WWE Supercard game, and we have. Even though I said last week I don't use a phone, I ended up using my wife's phone to play this game.
You just used it for just toilet filler.
Yeah, exactly. It's essentially that, But you still play it. I don't play it anymore.
I still occasionally sort of go back to it.
I saw your team, Matt. Don't go low with this. Your
I
team is downright scary on that game.
It's
okay?
not.
It
really
is.
Isn't.
Oh yes, it is.
I think it's probably just because I've put actual money into it. So it's just sort of like I kind of have to still play it, otherwise it's just a waste.
I saw one of your cards that has over 400 on every stat. That's just ridiculous.
Over 400? Oh Jesus! That was you've looked at it a while ago.
Yeah. See, no, exactly. You can't get around that. For what it's worth, I think it's an alright game. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it, and like I said, a lot of people maybe give these games a little bit of stick, but I played it and I had fun, and I never paid any money towards it. And sure, Matt paid a little bit and it boosted him up, but it's not as if I like the way that in that game it puts you up against people of the similar stat ranks, so it's not totally.
Yeah, so it's not like you've got to pay, otherwise we're just going to keep putting you against all these people with legendary decks.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. So in that case, I think that the microtransaction stuff in it isn't too much of a bothersome thing.
It's not a pay to win.
Yeah. And I don't care what you say, Matt. Your team is scary, okay? Maybe you need to do a picture and post it up on the Twitter page and show everyone exactly what you've got.
I don't even have any survivors in it.
Doesn't matter.
The highest tier of card.
Yeah, but you've still got an amazing team. You have to show our fans that team, okay? Robert Chapman says that it looks as if WWE is going to turn Reigns over to a heel. What I find interesting is that WrestleMania could we possibly see Seth Rollins getting a huge cheer if he turns in his Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm guessing WWE is looking at a future feud with Rollins and Reigns, but who will be booked as the heel? Just something to ponder. My thoughts on this is that I don't see WWE turning Rollins face for the future. That's just the way I see it going, regardless of what happens with Reigns. Would you agree with that?
Yep, but I see it. I see Rollins in a very difficult situation right now.
Yeah.
He gets cheers.
Yeah,
it's like don't get cheers. You are heel.
I think he's a good heel, Rollins. Almost too good to a sense in that state. But even if he cashes in, let's say he cashes in and gets a huge cheer for winning the Battle of Mania, I still think he's going to be perceived as a heel. Like, not so much that the fans will say that. WWE will present him as a heel, right?
It still get presented as like the big arrogant.
Yeah, yeah. And like the Reigns heel turn is still on the cards. They can still do that. But I reckon that the weeks leading into WrestleMania, I think that will actually be very interesting. The responses that Reigns get, because I think that will ultimately play a huge factor into what they want to do with him at Mania.
I think the Reigns heel turn is now inevitable, considering he's sort of, I use the term very loosely, feuding with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. I disagree, but we'll go into that with a Raw review because I know exactly what you're talking about there. He's certainly getting a lot of boos recently, but as we said, we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah,
it's still, to me, I think WWE have learned the lesson that at very least with Reigns, not to perceive him as the typical babyface, the John Cena babyface, because it just didn't work.
no.
And I think they've learnt their lesson because he hasn't been like that for a while. So there is that. Thomas Miller says his career's over before it's begun. That was over our we gave him the Mr. Miller stuff last week, which I thought was awesome.
Yep.
And weirdly, me and Matt share a birthday. There you go. Right, there you go.
Hey.
That's it. When I first heard that, I was like, "How did you know your birthday?" And I realized we were talking about it last week.
Because I kept saying about how NXT Takeover was on my birthday. Yeah.
So quick question: which near retirement wrestlers would you put in the Hall of Fame? Obviously, Kane and Big Show, despite their current crappiness, but maybe the likes of Mark Henry or Goldust. And he says, "Oh, good podcast there, lads, as well," which we do appreciate. I think all the names that you referenced there, so you've got Kane, Big Show, I think they're definitely lock-ins. I also think Mark Henry and Goldust are lock-ins as well.
Yeah, I think it's more sort of how far down the line will they go in. I think it's because I think you'll have Kane. I think Kane would be sort of a more prominent induction.
Yeah.
Where I think, I'd hate to say it because I love the guy, but I think Goldust would be like a bottom of the barrel induction.
Yeah, he won't be like the headline induction, but he will get inducted.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at the four and wondering who's going to get the biggest noise around them having the induction, I think it would be Kane.
I think Kane would be the prominent guy out of the four of them.
Big Show would definitely go in because of his longevity. You look at all four of these guys, technically they'll get in because of their longevity.
Because of how long they've been around for ages.
Yeah, all of them. I think the one out of them that I respect the most, I mean, it's a toss-up between Kane and Goldust because Kane has been like the solid guy all the way, and while he's never gone hugely high, he's always been at a good level the majority of his career. But I always like the way that Goldust has been able to reimagine himself, and especially this latest run, I've been hugely impressed with his with his recent run. I know you're big.
He has come back better than ever.
I know you're a huge fan of Dustin.
I'm a big Goldie fan.
Yeah. So apart from that, I can't think of many other people. I would say the majority of people that their careers are coming to an end will most likely get a nod. It doesn't take that much, honestly, to get in the WWE Hall of Fame. You have to be flavor of the year, sort of thing.
Well, I think we'll discuss something about that in a bit.
Yeah, because I think that the induction that was done this week, we'll get into that because I think that will be a topic of major discussion. But still, the fact is, Coco Beware got in the Hall of Fame. That kind of shows you the level of what we're talking about, of what you really need to do to get into the Hall of Fame. It ain't that much. Let's just say that. So. Fistful of Woolongs says that The Undertaker is going to be 50, Sting is going to be 56. I don't want to see the Taker-Sting match anymore. 20 years ago it would have been incredible. 10 years ago it would have been good. Today it would be a disaster and a terrible way to retire. I think this is more directed at me because after my statements last week stating that that Taker and Sting have to wrestle each other. Apparently, I've heard that the news is, and this is only rumours, so don't put too much stock into this. But the rumours are that apparently the idea is to have Taker and Sting next year.
Yeah, I've heard that. Now,
I don't like that idea personally because I think that while I kind of agree with what Fistfuller is saying here, ideally it should have already happened. WWE should have convinced Sting to come over way earlier and had this match back when it could have been hugely monumental. And the match itself would have been good. I think that they are running on severely borrowed time, and even having the match this week, even though I state that they should have it, even having the match this year is still way beyond when they should have had it, and I
Oh
fully agree with
yeah,
that. I would still state that they need to have that match, yeah. But adding another year. I mean, we're getting reports in that apparently Undertaker looks worse each year he comes in. Like he's
yeah. I read somewhere the Taker's just looking worse than ever.
yeah. So ideally, any longer, and really, it's going to start looking a little bit pathetic. But I would state that I still think that these guys have got enough in them to give us a match. I'm not going to state it would be a good one, but a match. And I'd state a match between Sting and Undertaker is still WrestleMania worthy. But that's just my opinion. I completely understand what you're stating here. And I just think that, and while you say it would be a terrible way to retire, I look at it in the other way. Wouldn't it be a great way to retire, giving the fans something we've always wanted to see? And I know the argument here is that maybe it wouldn't be what we've always wanted to see because they've left it too late. Are you under that? Are you under that thought?
I'm under that impression. That
Yeah.
it's like it's what we want, yeah, but
Maybe it's just the WCW fan in me because I used to watch tons of Sting matches. I was a huge fan of Sting. I understand what you're saying. I still go in the camp that they should have the match this year. I the way I look at it, right, is that I'm sure that if they have this match and they never end up having a match together, right? So we never get Sting versus Taker. I reckon about 5-6 years down the line, when you're looking back at these men's careers, I'm sure there'll be a few people that will probably regret not at least having it, not at least seeing it, out of curiosity, if nothing else.
oh yeah, no, I can completely understand that, but I still just think to get it's that whole sort of like, do I want one? Oh my god, it's finally happening, but it was a bit meh match, or do I want two pretty good, solid, well booked matches?
Yeah, I get that. I think the issue is with that as well, that especially with the Undertaker Wyatt thing, I explained my issues with that. And I think Pirate Hunter talked a lot about Bray, or agreeing with me in the sense that Bray um would not benefit from a rivalry with Undertaker, and like I said, I stated that last week.
But you're weakening. Your resolve is weakening.
No. I still fully agree. I still think that. Listen, if it's going to happen, I'll try. I will enjoy, the backwards and forwards, especially more when Undertaker's on the screen, because at the moment it's obviously one-sided because Taker isn't around. But I just, when Taker's gone, because he only works out one day, and Wyatt's got that loss. Just I don't know what they. Realistically, he should be beating him. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But there we are. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I'm still not convinced that if they've gotten both on the show that they shouldn't be wrestling each other. I'm still in the camp that they should, but I realise that I'm probably one of the minority, and I accept that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Murish Moore liked our Q&A with Wrestling Boom and asked if we will be doing more. I do expect we'll probably be doing some more, maybe even with Wrestling Boom blog again. But we're more than happy to do work with any established podcast, blog, website, as long as it's beneficial to not only us, but also to them.
I was going to say, I think the time's changed quite a bit, considering we were just like, God, I didn't even plan on doing that. We'll never do an interview.
No, we've never said we wouldn't do an interview. We said that we wouldn't have people on the show to do a full show with us. And I still stand by that because we've got a great flow, you and me, right? And it's not so much that we don't want people to appear. It's not along those lines.
It's just the fact that we hate you all.
Secretly, we're just like, god damn it, we hate every subscriber. No, of course not. We love you guys. But when we do stuff like that, as long as it's beneficial to both parties, then I've got no issue. I really don't. So yeah, it's along those lines. We have had people to ask and come and be like featured on the first episode of their podcast. The reason why we won't do that is because we want to know what kind of show we're going to be involved in, and so we would like to see a couple of episodes before we decide. Okay, we might appear, or one of us might. But the reason why we did that Q&A is because we saw that it's been a blog that's been running for at very least over a year. We thought,
Yeah,
fair enough.
consistently, yeah.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Awesome. And it's a good blog for TNA, fans as well.
Well, we don't touch it.
We don't touch that at all. Because both of us got burned out, but we won't go into that. Kane St. Dennis gets his debut here on the show. Says he's a huge fan of the podcast. Thank you. Congrats on 200 subscribers. Well, you can congratulate us on 225 subscribers. That's what we're rocking now. It wasn't that long ago that we announced the 200, so it's getting
I was going to say, it's been quick.
That's it. He asks as well, what is our favourite pay-per-view that isn't part of the Big Five, because he now includes Money in the Bank as part of the Big Four. So technically making it a Big Five. I would state that with those 5 gone, there's a lot of chaff surrounding the rest of it.
I think apart from those, it's just filler pay-per-views, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. We're talking about your Battlegrounds, your Night of Champions. The one I would state probably, because now it's gone, unfortunately, would probably Elimination Chamber. I really did enjoy the Chamber. Some of the matches done in there were really, really good, but that's gone.
Yep.
We've got Fastlane. So, putting that in mind, I'll probably go with TLC. I know the last TLC wasn't that great, but I look at some really great matches that have happened on that show.
What, as a pay-per-view or just TLC matches?
No, as a pay-per-view.
Yeah, because then you think Shield versus Ryback Team Hell No.
Yeah. Which I haven't gone back and watched yet. I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
That was awesome. That was our first match of the year that we did this show. So that was pretty cool. The problem with WWE is that they've got into a habit with their pay-per-views of having it circled around particular matches, which I think doesn't help them that much. But that's just my opinion. I think that, if you want a Hell in a Cell match, it's a shame that they have to wait until Hell in a Cell to have a Hell in a Cell match. If they've got a rivalry that needs a Hell in a Cell match, let them have a Hell in a Cell.
By all means, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Or you've got a match that you think deserves a TLC match, then they should be able to have a TLC match at a different part of the year. But still.
But Elimination Chamber,
I know.
Like, that's not the sort of matchup. It's like, I think this should be settled in an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Elimination Chamber, I liked it when it was first brought in, because it was first brought in when it was deemed that there were a lot of people deserving of a title shot, and it was the only way to give everyone like a fair chance or something along those lines. And then more and more it got used as like a January pay-per-view thing. A February pay-per-view thing. But now it's just gone. I hope that the whole concept isn't gone. Maybe it's part of that thing that WWE are doing so much cost cutting at the moment that maybe shoving around that chamber with them every now and then.
Yeah, I was going to say that thing must weigh a fair few ton.
Yeah. So maybe that has something to do with it, but still.
All I can think of is just like, do you remember Santino, who was almost like, at one point, we nearly believed that Santino could have won.
Yes. That's why I love the magic of it. The match itself had a bit of magic to it, I think. I think it's had some great matches in it, and I remember back to some of the earliest one. I think the first one was Shawn Michaels actually won the thing, and he won the belt after coming back. That was really cool.
Yeah.
That was at SummerSlam, I believe, if I'm right. No, Survivor Series. I think that was where it was. People correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Michaels came back at SummerSlam, won against Triple H. That's in 2002, and then at Survivor Series he won the belt. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
I can't remember.
I might be wrong with that. But yeah, that's the two I'm going with in regards to that. Would you go with the same, or is it any other? I mean, like I said, there's so much chaff, like bragging rights and all that garbage that they threw out every now and then.
Well, there's no need for bragging rights anymore, is there? Because it's not like bragging rights was because we have Raw versus SmackDown.
Or we had Fatal 4-Way one year. Do you remember that? Oh God.
Oh no, yeah.
Jesus, what awful idea.
Oh, every match contested under a Fatal 4-Way. Great. As if Fatal 4-Ways can't suck enough sometimes.
When you say that, I wouldn't mind NXT having a Fatal 4-Way.
Hey, I said sometimes.
Yeah. Because they seem to be able to make some brilliant ones, but there we are. Talking of NXT, I had a segue and I didn't even know it right there. There you go. We're going to move on to our NXT review now. We're going to talk about NXT TakeOver Rival. And this was headlined by the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match, which I thought has had a great build-up over the last couple of months. And was only... Owens hasn't wrestled a match since the last special. So it was only Owens' second match. We'll obviously talk about it when it comes up. But the general consensus around this show, and now NXT has a reputation during these specials to deliver. Go on, you say it to me, Matt.
A humdinger.
A humdinger of a show, and it definitely got it. No, I've trademarked that now. That's gonna have to be the back of one of my shirts or something. When we go to
Yeah.
the April Raw, people will know who I am from the humdinger stuff on the back of my shirt. You know what? I thought of an idea for you, Matt, to get you one of the shirts. Do you know that I've done the names before each podcast?
Yeah.
Just have like each episode of the podcast with like a cartoon drawing of like you, but like with all the different like shirts and stuff.
Yeah, that could work.
I thought that would be pretty cool. We have to get an artist to wrap that up or something along those lines. You know what it means, though. I mean, like 100, like hundreds of episodes down the line, we're just not going to have space to do that. You know?
Yeah, I'd be like, I'd literally have like a T-shirt that looks like Tensai's face.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do Tensai next week for you. There you go. That's it.
Good luck with that one. I wonder how you're going to work that one in.
Yeah, I'd probably call you the Matt Train or something along those lines. The M Train. There we go.
Oh.
See, I've already said it now. It's not the
Done.
same.
There, you can't use it.
I'm procrastinating. Let's talk about some NXT.
But speaking of the A Train, obviously on commentary.
Oh wow! Now you're segueing pretty badass there. I have to give you props for that. So yeah, one thing I was a little bit critical of on the NXT episode that we reviewed recently is that I thought Alex Riley wasn't that good on commentary, and it was good that he wasn't here. It wasn't there for the special. Obviously, with the issues that he's been having with the company, as you stated there, Matt, a couple of weeks ago at the Royal Rumble. So they had the panel. They had Corey Graves there as well, and I think Corey Graves is doing pretty well in that role.
I think Graves is doing really good, actually.
I thought commentary were fine. I thought solid. So Tyler Breeze versus Hideo Itami. That's what started up the show. I thought this was a little bit of a random match because, considering, as far as I know, I may have missed it, but on NXT they didn't even feature these guys like fighting, and this was like something on WWE.com or something along those lines,
Well, yeah, especially considering they had a match, like they were the first match in the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's like they only fought like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that Tyler was saying as he's beating up is that you ruined it, you didn't win. So maybe he thought, he could accept the loss if Hideo went on and won the whole thing. I got beaten by the guy who won it, that's fine. But because Hideo lost in the next round and Tyler Breeze just couldn't accept it, sort of thing. Maybe, but that was never really perceived, to be the case. Tyler Breeze comes out and he is now sporting a selfie stick.
Ugh.
It was only a matter of time. And they even booked it. This is what I liked more than the selfie stick. They even got a fan, and this wasn't a thing of, a woman actually came out of the crowd to, like, hug Tyler Breeze. This was all planned. You can tell by Tyler's response, the fact that he wasn't, what the fuck is this going on? You know what I mean? Someone's grabbing me from behind. So, yeah, I like the fact that they got this fan to come and, like, to break away from the crowd. And,
charge him.
Yeah. Which was pretty cool. Great set of ideas for Breeze. I would actually argue that they should probably do that way more often. Have it so like someone does break away from the crowd planned and grab him and all this lot. Because don't worry about it. I very much doubt that there's going to be. There's a difference between a good-looking woman coming in and trying to trace over, and then you've got a big, like, sweaty, fat wrestling fan just like glomping him from behind. I think
just glomping. I love that word.
Glomping, exactly. So. I thought here that I thought this was a good starting match between the pair of these guys. Itami, I thought, came off better. He showed more of what I wanted to see from him because I felt as if he's been lacking something like presence. I think one of the things that I'm so big on Finn Balor for is the presence that he has. I think that Itami misses that a little bit. I don't know. I hate to. I mean, I'm going to get a reputation of maybe ragging on this guy, even though I do like him. But
well, we were talking before that you feel like he's missing something, and I think over the weeks he's almost shut you up because I feel like he's done actually really well over the past matches.
I'd agree with you to a certain extent. I still think he's far behind where Balor is, and
Balor's leading it.
And Neville, I think that he's behind them, and I think that's unfortunately for him, that is a fact. The way that it's going at the moment. I think that he does need a lot more work in terms of how to. I think like his English. The fact is, he has to overcome the English barrier as well. So you have to give him
Yeah,
more
yeah.
time.
Do you feel
Go on.
that it's because, like, we hear that, Neville, Zayn, Baylor, and all things like that, they've travelled the world and they've wrestled in Japan, but they've done everywhere. They've done the world, where Itami he's Japanese.
Mainstay there, yeah. He has
Mainstay.
gone around.
He's
but...
travelled, yeah, but he's been predominant a Japanese wrestler.
Yeah, I think the fact is because I don't think it's so much due to the traveling. It's because the majority of the guys, like Zayn, Devitt, Balor, sorry, while they would have gone to Japan and wrestled a lot over there, the mainstay that they would have been doing it is places that are more akin to the wrestling style that WWE has,
Yeah.
Whereas,
I mean, you got Neville and Baylor who started in England and Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. That's closer to what WWE wants you to be than the Japanese style. That's what I would say. So it's gonna take him more time. And like I said, it's the language barrier. So things are gonna take him a bit longer. And maybe that's the reason why he's behind all those guys. Will he get there eventually? He's got the skills for it, you know what I mean? And he does have some charisma. I do think he does have something. It's just being able to get him confident with the language and all that.
I think the moment WWE are going to sort of pull the trigger on him is the day he's allowed to do the GTS.
Yeah, I love the fact he's teasing that. He's, when he finally hits that, it's going to be in a big match that he wins, and everyone's going to just pop huge for it.
Yeah,
and that would be great for him. So yeah, I think he's on the right track, Itami. But the truth is that he is behind everyone else. But I can understand why he is, and I do expect him to catch up. So yeah. Bull Dempsey against Baron Corbin. I am done with Dempsey versus Baron Corbin.
Especially considering it's a no DQ match, right? Where's the weapons?
Yeah, there was very little of the no DQ factor that came into play.
I think it was just the fact that they didn't get timed out.
Yeah, essentially.
They're just call it a no count out match.
I think the majority of what happens is the harshest thing that happens is that Corbin got thrown into steel steps, which you see in every match, and it doesn't get called for a DQ anyway. So
yeah,
it's not that much of a big deal, and the match wasn't that good. I have to state the majority of it was Corbin getting attacked and then him hitting the end of days and getting the pin.
Huzzah!
I'm not saying that I'm disappointed in either of the guys. I think it's because of the point that everyone came into this. They knew Corbin was going to win. It was just, he's beaten Dempsey twice easily. So
that's it.
And it was
just like it's not the rubber match. It's not like who definitely is. We all know it's Corbin.
Yeah, exactly. And to that point, because neither of these guys are yet at the point that they can deliver something like Balor or and Neville, not saying that those guys have wrestled before, but the fact is that because they aren't at that wrestling technique level yet, we've seen pretty much everything that they can do, and we know that's the problem.
Well, I will say, I think Corbin put on a good show when he faced Neville last week.
Yeah, I think he was fine, but the fact is that then he was in the ring with a different person. I think these two people, I think Dempsey and him have just been involved for too long. And because when you're in the ring with Neville, he can do way more stuff than Dempsey can. All no disrespect intended, but that is the bottom line. And like I said, we've seen lots of
no disrespect intended, Neville's better than Dempsey.
Yeah, but when you see Sami Zayn against Adrian Neville, you might have seen them wrestle 3 times before, but because of their wrestling acumen, they can bust out something else that we haven't seen before. With the feeling is with Dempsey and Corbin, we've seen everything that they can do. So it's time for this just to end, and obviously this was hopefully the ending there. Lucha Dragons against Blake and Murphy. I would state that wrestlers with masks on their face need to stop botching outright. They have a reputation for it now in WWE.
And they're both botching as well.
Yep, the pair of them.
Sin Cara's rubbing off.
The Sin Cara mask is just cursed. I think they need to get the character done and burn the mask at some Indian burial ground, and hopefully the spirit will stay there and not away from the rest of your bloody talent. It's something happened. It got hexed or something along those lines.
There's a lot of bad juju with that mask.
A lot of bad juju. So yeah, Sin Cara here had a very embarrassing botch. Kalisto had a botch as well, which wasn't great. So there,
he had like a minor one. His boot slipped on the rope, rather than Sin Cara is like, I'm going to go for a head scissors. but I'm kind of not.
Except I'm going to miss the mark entirely,
Yeah,
sort of
except
thing.
for I'm just going to roll over your shoulder and that'll be about it.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, really. But the fact is that I feel sorry more for Kalisto because you know that even just by association, that when he gets brought onto the main roster, which is still a possibility down the line, people are going to expect him to make mistakes. So he needs to have a good, I'd say, 6 months of crisp, clean matches
What's
for that to shake
we
that.
judge him for this one botch, but it's like he's actually been
I know.
solid.
Like I said, it's not even his fault. It's almost like by association. The very fact, and maybe is prejudice, but this is the way that it gets over. That if you're somewhat involved with Sin Cara, or you've got a mask on your face and you do a lot of these high flashy moves, people are going to be watching you through a microscope and waiting for you to make a mistake more
Yeah,
than anyone else. And that's the issue there. That I think that having Mystico making all those mistakes that he did has now given that sort of appeal, that sort of wrestler. Um, Now is that the one things I loved about Rey Mysterio is that he did all those high flying moves. He very rarely made mistakes. He was
yeah.
so crisp with everything that he did, um, and that's why he ultimately had the career he did, in WWE. Because he was never put under a microscope the same way that Sin Cara was, and
No.
there's a reason for that. But anyway, about this match, towards the end, it picked up. It got a lot better, but the Lucha Dragons
There's a
involvement.
lot of reversals, which I thought was quite impressive. Because it
Yeah,
was just sort of like, and then he's up for this, but now he's not into that. And then he's turned from this, and then he's reversed into that. And it's
yeah,
just like, what?
yeah. And it did look as if I like the way that in the sense that Blake and Murphy, it just looks like the way it's been booked and it's been perceived is that they're a better team because they've been able to tag in more technically and with tactically, in terms of beating the Lucha Dragons. It looks like they've outsmarted them both times, and that's what
Yeah.
it looks like here again. And I thought the match it was okay at the end, and Blake and Murphy do get the win.
I
They
still don't
win.
like their music.
No, it is a bit odd. Because you said it to me last time, I was looking at it more, and it's just like, okay, okay. Um, but and it highlights again the issue that I found with NXT is that now their tag team pool is really, really shallow. Um,
Yeah.
you've got maybe Enzo Amore and Cassidy. You've got the Vaudevillains. I don't see the Lucha Dragons
But then
really being much
I've
involved.
mentioned before that, like, I think Enzo and Cass are just, they're essentially playing male valet at the moment.
Yeah, to Carmella. Yeah. So yeah, it is a little bit of a shame. Hopefully they can move maybe some more people up and get some more teams on there. Um, but that's it. That's the problem is, and the problem is as well. And I'll highlight what I said before, is that the main roster has the same issue. So it's not as if they can get a lot of these teams in and they can build up
Everywhere's
NXT.
struggling with tag divisions.
Yeah, everything at the moment is struggling. This moves us on, however, to what I think was the match of the week. I've already given this my match of the week. And I think you're pretty much the same thinking of it. Finn Balor versus Adrian Neville.
There's been no real. I guess I'd love the main event, but I can't even say that was even close to this match.
I like the main event for a different reason, and I will talk about
Yeah,
that more towards it. Um,
it was a better story match, but this was a better wrestling match.
yeah, yeah, you pretty much got it in a nutshell right there. Neville and Baylor put on a wrestling clinic. They showed you it was basically a wrestling 101 school, showing everyone this is what a wrestling match is of a high caliber. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
this
think
is how.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You want to know who is money in NXT? Finn Balor is motherfucking money, outright.
Yeah,
If Vince looks at this guy and sees nothing but dollar signs, yeah, that'll prove that he's in touch.
and he'd be right.
Yeah,
To be fair,
yeah. If he sees anything but dollar signs, then he's throwing away money right there. I'm telling you right now, Finn Balor is
I think if
motherfucking
Vince
money.
doesn't see Finn Balor as money, then it just definitely goes to show that he's out of touch.
Yeah, I tell you
Like,
what.
oh, I'm not out of touch. I'm not out of touch, and I hate that Finn Balor guy. Well, you're a fool.
I tell you what, if Vince gives him a chance, this Irish demon will deliver him a truckload of cash. He really will. People will pay to see him. So yeah, Baylor is going to deliver Vince a truckload of cash. There's
Yeah.
just absolutely no other way. His presence, the fact that he does the paint, his wrestling skill, and yeah, his promos maybe aren't up to touch, but that's why he's developmental. And like the fact he doesn't look like he knows the WWE cameras in terms of doing interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, that can all be tweaked very easily. That's so easy to do.
I
Um,
mean, it's one thing that sort of Triple H mentioned in his podcast with Austin. Is just like that Baylor is one of the ones that turned around and went, "I'm just overwhelmed."
Yeah, yeah. Like the fact is, I think that, and people can argue this fact if you like. It's just my opinion. I will state that Finn Balor not only has the best entrance at the moment in WWE, I think he has the best entrance in the industry. That's a big statement. I will stand by it. I haven't seen much else at the moment that has this much mystery, presence, and it's a lengthy goddamn entrance,
Are
but
you
it's
referring
amazing.
to his takeover entrances as opposed to
Yeah, as opposed to a normal one. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
yeah
um, and has that much of the just the fact that the fans are, even if they're not chanting, they are looking. They want to see exactly what the fuck's going on here.
yeah yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so enthralling. I love his entrance, the music, everything. It's perfect for his character. I just think that out of all the guys they got in there, even above Sami Zayn, right, who I think will be great for that company if they use him right. The fact is, I think that Baylor looks good without the paint. He's a good-looking guy. He's got a great look. He's great in the ring, and he has presence. You put that paint on him at a big moment, he becomes something else
Yeah,
entirely.
yeah, yeah.
I
He just sort of surpasses being a normal guy.
Yes, outright. I think this is a guy that should be plastered all over their fucking posters with all this stuff. The fact is, if he gets onto the main roster, I want to see what type of pay-per-view posters they can do with this
I
guy.
was literally just thinking, it's like, oh, I imagine the posters.
Yes, it would be phenomenal. I think he would deliver if they give him a chance. A truckload of cash. I really do. I think he'll give them money after money after money, and he'll become a huge star for them. I really do think that. Adrian Neville. Do I think he has the same appeal as Finn Balor? No. But I think that he's one of these guys that, if used well, he will have 5-star matches with anyone on that roster.
Yeah.
And I think that's a guy that you need, really. Um, he's got.
Do you know,
Go on.
no, I was just thinking, it's like, the one thing I'm kind of really annoyed about is the whole, like, he might be coming up with a Mighty Mouse gimmick. It's like, no, don't change him at all.
Yeah.
Just let him be, because you had Evan Bourne with the whole, he had the jet fighter sort of entrance music and all that lot.
Yeah.
And just leave it. It's fine. It works.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you in that sense, but I do agree to with WWE to an extent that something needs to be tweaked with Neville, just something small to make him a little bit more accessible to their global market, right? But I don't want them. But the idea of me, I've just thought that now. Oh, he needs to be tweaked a little bit, and suddenly I just remember the Ascension being tweaked, and look how
Yeah,
fantastic that
exactly.
turned out for him. So good.
Just
They
leave him like Rusev. As the same way Rusev left NXT is the same way Rusev appeared in the WWE.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been the best booking
It was
recently.
cheap. It's been cheap way of booking him, but I tell you what, it's worked.
Yeah.
In that sense. Um, yeah, I thought this match was fantastic. If there's one match you want to watch this week, it is Baylor versus Neville outright. I think
Oh god, yeah.
I think this was perfect. This match, 5 out
Just
of 5.
the counters and everything. It's just like I love the finish, like
Yes,
leading up to the finish and everything. Sort of like from like the red arrow with Baylor getting his knees up to getting the cheeky sort of crucifix pin out of it, and
yeah.
oh,
There was so much.
great.
The very first exchange of wrestling between these guys, I was like, "Oh, here we go. This is going to be another humdinger of a match for me," and they did not fail to disappoint. I have often said, moving on from that match, from this, and I went back and actually listened to the last special, the review we done it. And I said back then, there are two things that you can always expect of an NXT special. One of them is a classic main event that will be remembered,
Yep.
and you will get a absolute excellent Divas. No, sorry, women's
women's
wrestling match.
match.
And again, NXT delivered, as they always do. Bayley versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. And you show me that WWE can produce classic women's matches. This was a match littered with talented women, not annoying divas. That's what I would say.
It's like in a great fatal four-way match as well.
A very
There's
well
one thing
booked
that
one.
like NXT have done recently. They had a fatal four-way pay-per-view. Main event fatal four-way was awesome.
Yeah.
Now they have a fatal four-way for the women's belt. Fatal four-way, awesome.
Yeah. It was almost a little bit as if they followed a similar blueprint to that match, the men's match that they had.
Yeah.
Each woman, had their moment. I thought, even Becky Lynch, who
of leading the match. Yeah.
yeah, even Becky Lynch, who's the least experienced out of them, at least in
greenest,
NXT. Yeah. And I thought that all of them had a great moment, at very least the chance that you thought, wow, they have a chance of at least winning the belt, which was awesome. And it came to a point where Sasha Banks has got Charlotte in like this crossface move. She's climbing towards the ropes, and then just as she's about to get there, she kind of twists it back and then gets her into a pin, and Sasha Banks wins the NXT Women's Championship.
That's it.
I thought it was the right time for the belt to move on, personally. I've always said here, I'm happy with Charlotte, conducting herself like a champion. But I think she's taken that career as far as she can go in NXT.
Well, I think like conducting herself as a champion's one thing, but you need to lose it a few times to be a champion.
Yeah, I think that the title run she had was phenomenal. I really do. She's had some great matches, and she was still in this match. Filled with women who are very talented. It still looks as if she was the one calling the shots, the ring general out there.
Yeah.
And I think she can play that role great. The only thing that I'm worried about is that you hear reports that they're worried that Charlotte won't fit the diva mold. I.e.,
she doesn't, because she's better than them.
Because she's good in the sense that she can be good and she can stand out without having silicone in her tits. So. Yeah. That is a blast towards the likes of Eva Marie and Nikki Bella, because the fact is that their careers really got bigger once her boobs got bigger. That's the bottom line, and obviously who she's banging, of course.
That's it.
But the very fact is, I don't think you would need to worry about making sure that Charlotte fits in with the divas. I think she transcends that. I think that she is a women's fighting wrestler. I think that she should be perceived as such. I don't think they should have any worries about putting her in. And I don't think they need to, as I said, I don't think they need to make her fit in. Why not make her stand out?
That's it. Like, I don't even want her to I want it to sort of be like, if she comes along with an ego of whatever, just like, I am better than anyone here. And if that's the case, and if it goes to the whole, I am the daughter of Ric Flair, I don't want it to go, Natty going, well, I'm the niece of Bret Hart. It's like, no, I don't want that. I just want Charlotte proving that this is how women do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the very fact is that we're maybe getting too excited because she will be brought up to the main roster, and more than likely they will pigeonhole her. And I
know they've hurt us before.
Yeah,
like Paige.
But the ideal thing is that she comes in and hopefully, and I think it's a very slim of facts because we've been burnt before. We've said on this before, we thought Paige would be the chosen one, so I'm not holding out. But the hope is that she can revolutionize how people perceive the women's division, the Divas division, in WWE. That's the hope, and she can bring some great wrestling to it and legitimize it and make people... I mean, the very fact is that the main problem that people have with the Divas division that it's very hard to get involved in. And I love the fact that Charlotte has quite a few moves, borrowing from her legacy. I love the fact that she has that transition where she gets into that neck breaker, she goes woo, and the fans get into it.
Yeah.
It's something that's great for her. But we'll be seeing her going from there. Sasha Banks, by the way, I'm fine with her winning the belt. I thought, like, out of all of them, I didn't think it was the right way for Bayley to win the belt, personally.
I'd rather Bayley to win on a singles.
Singles, yeah. And this opens it up for Charlotte to go off and do different things, or maybe have a rematch, then go and have different things. And then Bayley can feud with Sasha Banks, and then that's a great feud going forward. Writes itself, and it's all stuff I want to watch. That's the most important thing. This leads us... Do you want to say something there?
No, I was just going to say, it was a good show because I quite enjoyed just the sheer fact it's just sort of like Becky Lynch is just sort of like, she's not we say that she was the least experienced, but she still proved that she could go.
Yeah, yeah. I thought she was competent here. I think
She
it
had that
showed.
pump handle suplex that she delivered was beautiful.
Yeah, Sasha bounced off the mat there. Yeah. I thought all women deserve a round of applause. Really do.
Yeah,
This leads us to a main event, and this is a very interesting main event. I loved this match for a different reason than the earlier match.
yeah,
It wasn't as epic, I would say, as Baylor versus Neville, but I thought the story that they told us and the feeling of legitimacy in this match was phenomenal.
yeah,
I thought when Kevin Owens here took the fight to Sami Zayn, when he was kicking his ass, it was very believable that he was kicking seven shades of shit out of the guy. So much so that when the ending happened, I wasn't upset with the ending at all.
no,
Um, so the match itself felt very legitimate. It felt very real. I thought Zayn didn't get a lot of offense in on here at all throughout any of the match here. He got a blue thunder bomb, but that was about it.
yeah. He got his like exploder suplex. He got a few little bits,
Yeah.
but it was all Owens.
Yeah, very dominant Owens here. And there was a point in the match where, while Zayn was on the offense, he bangs his head against the steel grate, and
Yeah,
then he sells the concussion very, very well. And then Owens, being as ruthless as he is, doesn't care that doctors are coming down trying to assess him. He's in a title
yeah.
match. And he power bombs the shit out of the guy to the point that about the fifth power bomb that he's about to do to Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn at this point is floppy, right? He's just all over the place. Doesn't even look like the guy's
He
really there.
sold drunk very well.
Yeah, he did.
From a punch drunk.
Yeah. There's a great moment where he's going for the final power bomb. The referee panics because he's like, this guy's got a fucking concussion. There's two doctors on the outside telling him, you've got to end it. It has to end now. And then the referee.
Just give him a Z-Pack.
Well, the feel of the match was awesome in the sense that it was like, no, you've got to stop it. It has to end here for the man's health. And then the referee stops in and awards the match to Owens and the belt.
Yeah.
There's a great uncertainty moment here where you're wondering what the match is over, but what the fuck's going on? Does Zayn keep the belt or anything? No, Owens wins the belt, and it was the right call. I loved it personally, and people
Yeah.
were saying, "Oh well, Sami Zayn, he won the belt, and 2 months later he's lost it." Well, there's two different avenues that Zayn can go here. One, he gets called up, which he's overdue for, really.
Yeah, I think he's due a call up.
Yeah. Or two, if he is staying there for a while and he's going to rival back, I fully expect that he'll have a redemption story, much like he had before, where he has to beat the greatest threat he's ever known, his best friend, one that he knows can kick the shit out of him and has already done it for the belt, and he has to get that belt back.
Yeah.
And I think that makes for a very interesting dynamic, and whether or not Finn Balor gets in with that, considering he's a number one contender, we don't know. But they're the two different angles to go, and I'm interested in both of them. So Sami Zayn is always going to be one of those guys that the chase for the belt is going to be way more interesting than him being the champion.
Yeah.
Not to say that I want him to lose the belt so quickly. I do think it was a bit early, but I'm okay.
I thought it was going to happen.
You honestly picked. We didn't do our predictions. You
We
picked
didn't make
Owens.
picks. I was like, Owens will win it.
I thought that Zayn would win, but it would be through dubious circumstances. Like it wouldn't be a decisive victory. It'd be like a lucky one, and everyone would see it that way.
It was the one thing that the commentary team liked to point out on. It's just like Owens isn't doing this out like he's meticulous. Like he's thinking about it. He's calculated the whole thing, and it's not like he's gonna get himself disqualified because that's such a stupid move.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He came off like his character comes off as supremely intelligent, and I like that. And you know what I like even more? He's posting pictures of the belt around his children.
Yeah. Like his little baby girl, and just suddenly just sort of like, oh, look what Daddy brought home. It's just like squatting in the NXT title.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, that's such a face thing to do. No, it isn't. Right? He's still heel. He still battered his friend to get that belt.
Yeah.
But it's got a meaning behind. He's got a reason for his actions. He's not a dick for being a dick. He's a dick because he thinks he's doing it for the greater good, and in his mind, he is. I'm sure a lot of people, would I batter you, Matt, for my children? If it came down to that, then maybe I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I completely accept
yeah,
it.
exactly. I wouldn't be able to do it. All things considered, you're much bigger than I am, but that's the fact of it. But would I try? In that sense. if it was if it, I like that shade of grey with his character. Yeah, people don't like what he does, but he does it for a reason.
It's the one thing is like loads of people just seem to forget that during the contract signing, he was just like he said it plain clear as day. That belt right there means more money for me, for my family, for my kids.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's it. He now has a reason to be doing this.
Yeah, like above all of his morals and what he might believe is right and wrong, everything that he does in that is for what he thinks is the best for his family, and whether that means brutalizing his friends or not, that's completely
So yeah,
irrelevant. He'll do it exactly, and he's intelligent enough to know how to maybe get the better of who people who think he's friends with them for. So yeah, I love that dynamic, and I hope it's something that carries over eventually when he goes onto the main roster. I think that would work perfectly. And you
it's
don't have to
definitely one of the
wade
things
out
that
his wife and kids out over there and show him everything. Just the slight references to give him some sort of meaning for the diabolical things that he does. You know?
yeah, like the little pictures.
Yeah. You could even later on down the line, you could even have like an interview with maybe his wife if she's willing to do it and say, I know he does these things, I don't agree with them, but it's for our family and I agree and I have to stand by him, you know?
Yeah,
Perfect, you know? So,
done.
so all in all, Matt, what rating would you give this event? Would you state that obviously we know it's good, but just how good is it in comparison to other events?
I'm not going to say humdinger again.
No, I'm not. I'm not asking for a humdinger. See, I gave it to
Yeah.
you. But
Um,
what I'm saying here is that
Great. I loved it.
yeah,
Just everything. Just
I
it was that one thing that sort of like I mean yeah okay we had a bit of a botchy tag match but still it was still damn good like the whole event and it's just sort of like I there's a reason why I watched this before I watched Raw
yeah
and it's because I knew I would be entertained for 2 hours straight.
yeah. It was. I think that this it's hard to rate these shows up over the other NXT specials because I think that our show was fantastic as well. But I think this show was fantastic for different reasons. I like the fact that it's given us two different styles of like main events and
Yeah,
and matches along those lines. And guys, and the NXT talent pool is very impressive. It's I hope, I sincerely hope that management in the main roster don't look at NXT and go, oh, well, sure, they can only do it in front of 150 people, but this is the big leagues. Take what works in NXT and make it work on your own product. You have to.
I don't think that's going to be the problem.
What do you think's going
Like
to be the
if they,
problem?
no if they just go oh but it's not the same thing it's all in front of 1,000 it's only in front of 200 people I was like shut up.
I,
I
I
think it's going to be narrow. I don't think they'll have problems.
Yeah, I
So,
don't. I don't think that if you. The thing is, I think one of the main issues is that you brought up some people and they brought them up with gimmicks and they haven't given them enough time and stuff like that. Look at Bo Dallas at the moment, right? The fact is that he had like an undefeated streak going on. That could have been a gimmick for ages. You could put loads of scrubs in front of him and then he's parading around with his streak. That's just so annoying. He just wants someone to beat him. It's a
yeah,
different style to Rusev. Um, but they decided just to have R-Truth beat him and that was it. So there you
yeah.
are.
For what reason? No reason.
Yeah, I think that the Triple H comment is a little bit more damning than maybe I previously thought when he stated that NXT is done for a specific, it's done for a more hardcore demographic. WWE will probably think of that too much and it suits for them, but the majority of that doesn't go for the 85% of our fans. So we need to change it to appeal to more of a broader audience, and that's what waters down some of these guys coming in.
Yeah.
That's the fear to me. But there we are. Yeah, guys, if you cancelled your WWE Network subscription because of the Royal Rumble, pick it back up for NXT
Yeah.
because you're only looking like a fool for not watching it for free.
I
No less.
I don't even mind buying this at all, paying at all. When simply it's just I love NXT.
Yeah,
And it's the back catalogue. The back catalogue's pretty much the main reason I got it.
the main issue with people stating, oh, the network's it's so bad and stuff like that. I'll give you a little bit of a precursor to our review. The network is going to get put over here pretty well. We like the network, okay? But I would happily pay the money I do each month to get NXT each week. Just NXT.
Yeah.
That shows you how much I'm into what they're doing. And how much I think of a deal I think that the network is. Now there is issues with the network. I'm planning on reviewing it next week. So
Okay.
there is things wrong with it, But I think overall it's pretty good. But we're going to go into why I think there's certain issues with it, and it's more about the mechanics of the network more than the content. But there we are. So let's move
To
on
be fair,
to
you've got to get NXT for one reason.
go on.
How, if you don't watch NXT, how would you know about Enzo Amore
Exactly, and what a certified G he is.
and a bona fide stud?
Yeah, he was on.
And you can't teach that.
Yeah. He would be great as a manager more as of an in-ring talent. I just
Yeah.
bring them up, make Colin Cassidy the wrestler, and just make Enzo just do all the talking. That's just
Yeah.
a match made in heaven right there. Fuck it. You know what? Bring him in as a tag team. You fucking need tag teams on that main roster right now. Do that. That would work. But
Well, they were a tag team for a while.
yeah, they still technically are in a sense.
Yeah.
So. Let's get into our Raw review because I realise we've been podcasting for a while and we've still got plenty of stuff to go through with Raw.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I said, it was going to be a packed show, and I know you guys do like the audio goodness coming your way. So we're on the road to Fastlane, and the main event of Reigns versus Bryan is coming up. This episode emanated from Ohio State University, not Full Sail University. It is technically we coined the term mid-monther. This is a mid-monther.
Yeah.
See if the main thing that WWE needs to do here is just to build up some momentum, because they've had a few speed bumps over the last couple of months, i.e. the Royal Rumble stuff and the the Rollins stuff this week wasn't too great.
That's it.
And the fact is that obviously Lesnar's not wrestling on that show either, so that's the thing as well. Roman Reigns starts off the show. Just hearing his music at the start of Raw is a little bit fresh. It's not John Cena or The Authority, so I'll take that.
Yeah, that is true.
The crowd here this week are a lot more hostile towards him than the crowd. I think it was Denver last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
He then does the John Cena thing of narrating everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks, which, again, they've showed 2 video packages at the start of the show that told us exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It didn't tell us, it showed us exactly what happened. We didn't need the narration here from Reigns. He says that he'll breet, he said.
Yeah.
Not beat, he'll breet Bryan and Lesnar. Slight fluffs like that make me worried that they won't give the new stars chance to really
talk on their own.
Well, not so much talking on their own, because obviously this was very heavily scripted, but to talk at all. That's
Yeah.
the main problem there. And then so Bryan comes out obviously after that. His name was spoken in an opening segment. Of course he has to.
Yep.
He thanks Reigns for the interference last week and the opportunity essentially to steal the Mania main events from him. Bryan says that Reigns is, while he's bigger and stronger, they're kind of the same looks, he says, along those lines. I'm sure we'll get Renee Young to do the wetness test when they both say "Hey girl," and we'll figure out who.
The wet test.
It's the wetness test. That's it. We'll have. Oh no, I was about to take that a little bit too far. I'm not going to. I like Renee Young. I'll keep that. Just curve my tongue a little bit before we go down that shameless pay-per-view plot that we're doing there. But when it comes to wrestling, yes, he did say the word wrestling.
He dropped the W word.
He did indeed. He says that he is better. It's a big no-no word, wrestling. Sports entertainment, apparently. Apparently, if you said, you can't really say it as much. I'm a better sports entertainer than you. That just sounds so much worse, So,
Yeah.
This brings out the Authority, keeping the streak alive. They're going to break their record soon. I haven't done the math, but I might do soon just to see if they broke their 9 shows in a row opened. They've got to be close. Since they came back...
Well, this isn't, no, because they didn't open this one.
They did. They were in the opening segment to me.
Well, they didn't. I'm sort of thinking, like, the amount of times where it's just like, and here's Raw, and Triple H is already in the ring.
I count... If they're involved in the opening segment, I still count it.
Okay, if they're just there at all.
Yeah, of course. Because, the fact is they can't have an opening segment that happens without them. It's the rules, man. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So... I thought it would have been nice to keep the Authority out of it and just to keep Bryan and Reigns having a bit more of a back and forth against each other, maybe getting a bit aggressive towards each other. But no, that's the way it is. Triple H comes out. He says he's called out Sting 2 weeks in a row and questions his manliness in not responding to it. Then Stephanie says that Big Show was just minding his own business last week before being speared. And when I say
It's like,
spear,
why did you spear poor Big Show?
yeah, and when we say spear, more like he was impaled by Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Reigns impaled himself on. Yeah.
It just they should have done a comedy thing where Reigns' head was just stuck in Big Show's stomach, and he's just like a big, the way that.
Or just that sound the moment he made contact, just like.
Yeah, exactly. Reigns quits back saying that he did it because he could. I think that's wrong. He did it because he was fired out of a fucking cannon. That's what I would state. That spear was really good. It was awesome to look back on it. So Stephanie then states that apparently Bryan was in the wrong by winning the casket match. Apparently, you're not allowed to win matches anymore.
Well, apparently no. It's not you. It's not you're not allowed to win matches. It's you're not allowed to bury people. Like you're not. Why would you put people in caskets? That's a terrible thing to do. I was just listening to that whole thing. It's like you made this stipulation.
Yeah, you made the casket match.
I'm sorry. Would you go? Oh, but Kane. Why would you put him in a casket? It's such a terrible thing to do to someone.
Like, obviously, she's trying to be heel, but it's a little bit like that's just being nonsensical. That's not being heel. That's just being stupid.
Yeah.
So that's Brian does bring up that Triple H's history with caskets isn't exactly crystal clear. Katie Vick and all that. That's all that stuff. I wonder how many people will Google up Triple H and caskets and see what comes up there.
Yeah.
Be interesting. She sets up Kane, Big Show against Bryan and Reigns in the opening match. And you know what? The opening segment lasted less than 15 minutes.
Well, no, I didn't really, because I kind of count the following match as part of the.
No, that's all action to me. So that's all right with me personally.
Okay.
And you know what? Even then, I'm pretty much sure that even with the match, it still didn't go over 25 minutes like last week did. 25 minutes. But I'll take this. Okay, I'll take this. They wanted to get some sort of a hook in. They gave us some action. I'm okay with that. I can't exactly argue and go, no, I think it's okay. I think it's alright. And for what it's worth, even though Stephanie was being nonsensical, it just seems a lot less like she was like talking from a script this week. That might just be me and the mood I was in watching the show, maybe. So, opening match, already stated what it was. Reigns, Bryan, Show, and Kane. JBL drops a line here, which could be deemed extremely offensive, and I don't know whether you caught up with this, Matt. He stated he was basically making fun of Daniel Bryan's boots. Now, I don't know.
I didn't pick up on this.
Do you know reason why that could be offensive?
Because they're actually goat. It looks like they're actually fur.
No, not at all. It's actually a tribute. It's a tribute to the late Bruiser Brody.
Ah!
So,
okay.
Making fun of the boots and the tribute to him, a bit sketchy to me.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure JBL knew exactly what they were there for. So, yeah. It's a little bit odd. So I thought this match was okay. Thought it was alright. Nothing too bad. Not anything overly great. But it ends with Big Show being disqualified by throwing Bryan into a barricade.
Yeah.
That seems to me like
It's a bit weak.
Yeah, a really soft DQ. Considering we've seen guys being thrown into posts into the steel steps, no DQ. Thrown into a barricade. Jesus Christ! Someone call an ambulance. This match needs to be stopped. A little bit odd.
Especially considering, oh no, not a barricade. That doesn't happen a lot.
The padded barricade. Oh goodness me. Yeah, just a bit odd there. So a brawl ensues afterwards. Bryan then accidentally drop kicks Reigns. Reigns is very pissed off with this. He even pushes Daniel Bryan away.
Ooh, a shove.
Yeah. Triple H says that, with all the animosity in the air, he's going to put them in another match later on. It's going to be Show, Kane, J&J Security, and Rollins against them too. It's maybe a new record for WWE rehashing themselves. They normally leave it a week. So, they got 3 hours afterwards to give us the same thing.
You'll have 2 hours. Get yourself ready.
For all people wondering, oh my God, did they just do another match again later on in the main event? It wasn't that much of a match, but we'll get into that. So this leads into Ryback against Seth Rollins, who again is pulling double duty. And apparently in the timeline of this, Rollins did not know at this point that all the stuff was going on with his Twitter account. Apparently
I just one thing I must have loved it. Like I would have loved it just sort of being the person backstage, just like, oh yeah, I just had a great match. Seth, have you seen Twitter? Yeah, no, why is it? It's just like, you better see
You
this.
better see it. Uh, or he comes out and the pun is about, oh, I really had a hard match there. I bet you did, Seth. I bet you did. Whee!
Way.
Um, so apparently the start of the Ryback Rollins match was so interesting that commentary spent a good, let's say, half a minute discussing and debating how to properly pronounce Annie Lennox's name. So
Oh god, yeah.
there was that. Now, like I said,
Forgot about
I could make a few quips in this match that Seth was having a hard time, as I said earlier, or maybe he felt too exposed during this match.
it.
Uh, but anything would make me seem, crass and
Childish.
childish. And come on, we're not like that here on this podcast, are we? I can't pull that off, really. I don't think. People come here for
Childish?
silly
No.
humour and a bit of satire. So this match almost ends in a DQ. Oh no, also ends in a DQ. Sorry. Before it gets too interesting, J&J Security just basically get involved and start attacking Ryback.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit with the first two matches ending in disqualification, the WCW New Era that stated that they would have no DQs, and then the first three matches of the show ended in DQ. I know we covered that on the Fail of the Week one week, so.
Oh, WCW.
WCW, you drunken fool, you. Um, they show a vignette for Sheamus signaling his return. He didn't actually return on this show, did he not?
No.
They kept stating, "Oh, next, he's returning." It never actually got to that point. Maybe I
I
just
think it's
missed
the
it.
next week
Next week,
thing.
yeah, maybe. And it's bad that when I saw Sheamus, and these vignettes aren't particularly bad, I thought they were okay. But it just, when I look at him, I just wonder how long it will take him to become irrelevant again. I shouldn't be thinking. I should be excited for him to return, shouldn't I? I'm just not.
I'm not.
No, I just think he'll come back and he's just going to be boring, and that's pretty
Just
much
come
it.
along and shout brogue a few times and kick people in the mouth.
Yeah. God
That's how,
help
it,
them.
that's how he does things, right?
Yeah, essentially. Like the thing I'm thinking of that if they decide just to go say fuck everyone with any of their ideas about Daniel Bryan, we're just gonna definitely have Sheamus against Bryan. Oh, I'd hate to be in Sheamus's shoes because people are gonna want to kill him, and that's not so much
Yeah.
because he's a heel. Then people are gonna be like, really, really. I would argue that Sheamus isn't on the level of Daniel Bryan in terms of the level of the ladder. That I would state,
Yeah.
but there we are. Brie Bella versus Paige. Paige paid homage to Drew McDonald, who did pass away this week, a outstanding figure in the UK wrestling scene.
hmm
Don't have much interaction between us and him, but you always hear that reputation is extremely stellar, along those lines. I would imagine that him to a lot of people would have been like John Copping was to us.
Yeah.
Um, and that name doesn't get floated around as much because it's more personal. And he's a guy that gave me a chance to, at very least,
Give it a go.
taste, life in the ring, taking bumps and all that stuff. And we paid tribute to him when he passed away. When we started the early
Well, this is the
episodes of the show.
original. Yeah, on the original way around.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a shame, but I thought the homage here that she paid was very, very fitting. I thought it was very unique as
Definitely
well.
could have. Yeah.
Yeah, putting on her arm like that, very, very cool.
It worked as well. It wasn't just sort of like completely out of the gimmick.
Yes, I thought it fit in very nicely, and it was nice of her to do. So a half decent match, this one. Like I said, when I say half decent, it just pales in comparison to what the NXT women did. But I'm not going to go too much on a rant about that. I've beaten that horse to death. So
Yeah.
we all know the division difference between the divas and the women's. It's just the way it is.
It's so big you could park Rikishi's ass in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Talking of asses, Lana and Rusev are out. Do you like Lana's? Yeah. They're
Quite
out.
the fan.
Talking of paying homage as well, they want to pay homage to John Cena. Lana shows off a video package, first of Cena's accomplishments, and then it fades to him getting moments where he's been decimated.
Just beaten up.
Um,
Broken.
yeah. I thought it was a good vignette. Lana asked, how much longer can Cena keep going after 13 years? And I do wonder the same thing every now and then, because you get conflicting reports stating he's better than ever, and then you get reports stating he's a walking corpse. And you know, I still think he's got a good few years on him still.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't be surprised,
I just don't
however.
think they should be main event years.
No, but they are going to be.
Yeah, because we don't have anything.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised. One of these, a couple of years down the line, you might get a promo from John Cena, much like Edge, saying, "Doctor told me I need to retire. There's not much else I could do about it because I've taken this much damage over my career." But
Yeah,
that's the thing about it. It's not as if John Cena has been taking the level of bumps that Edge did in his career. Let's just be honest. But
yeah,
jumping off of a ladder and spearing Jeff Hardy off of in a TLC match.
definitely one way to start it off, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So Rusev takes the mic here and he says that Cena is no longer the young, tough man, and the age difference here was something that they played the card off a lot. Which is weird, considering that Cena doesn't look that young, personally. He still looks, he's not even 40 yet, so there is that to
I
consider.
mean, he doesn't look that old.
No, he doesn't look that old to me.
Yeah,
fair enough if you say, back in the day when you'd say that the Hulk Hogan when the guy's missing half of his hair, fair enough, but
yeah,
Cena still looks in great shape along those lines. So it's a bit of an odd card for them to play. I know that they wanted the whole thing of if you're going to be the new generation, you need to go through me. So, I guess there's that. So the push-seeking missile decides he's going to come out, as we know. He smells a push. He has to come out and and examine his newest victim. Along those lines. He says that no matter how many times I've been hurt, I'll always get back up, etc., etc. You've always heard the John Cena stuff. You know what to expect. He says at La Fastlane, this old man will kick Rusev's ass. Rusev says, I'll crush you. And then then Cena quips back saying, oh, well, Rusev has all the jokes. Lana has his balls. I wouldn't mind Lana handling my nuts, to be honest. She can have my balls if she wants. I've got no problem with that.
That's the way it has to be.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
What a shame.
That's the way it is. The fact is, I can say this stuff even though I'm married because my wife's got the hots for her as well. So I get away with it.
Safe.
That's it. That's how you play it. That's how you play a relationship, Seth Rollins, okay? That's how you do it, okay? And don't worry, there won't be any leaked dick pics of me, don't you worry. There isn't a camera big enough that we're getting to that. Oh dear. So the pair then fight. They have a little bit of a scrap. Rusev gets the better of him. And yeah, it's a little bit hard for me to get too enthusiastic about this rivalry because you kind of know where it's going. Even if Rusev gets the better of Cena at Fastlane, which I expect Cena won't pin Rusev at Fastlane, Cena's going to beat him. That's just the bottom line of it. It's eventually Rusev's going to be on the mat, Cena will get that win. And it's really hard for me to get too enthused about it because he's getting fed to Cena, and we've seen that too much. And that's the bottom line with that.
He's getting fed a lot sooner than I anticipated, though.
He went a whole year without being beaten, I guess. If he does get beaten at WrestleMania, that would mark a year.
Well, no, it's just sort of like, I was pretty sure that we heard grumblings that this would be a Mania match.
Yeah, that's why I do think this will be a Mania match. I think they'll have their second match. But that's the reason I said that Cena won't pin him. Either Rusev will cheat or get DQ'd, and it'll be like, oh, at WrestleMania, there'll be no DQs, and I'll make sure I'll definitely pin you. There's no way to get away from it, that sort of thing. That's how I see it right now. Moving on anyway, Ziggler versus Bray Wyatt. This is a rematch from last week, and the crowd were immediately into this match. They really were. But I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a better match from
Solid
last
match,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was better than last week. I thought that just the flow of it, and I think they got a little bit more time, or either it just felt that way this week. But Wyatt hit a absolutely savage clothesline here. Turned Ziggler
on the outside,
yeah. Flattened him. It was beautiful to watch. It really was. And then literally just throws the carcass into the ring, and Sister Abigail's in for the victory. 2 weeks in a row. And it's not hard to see with these two matches which wrestler WWE has a plan for.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame. Ziggler just losing loads of matches with all the momentum he got over Survivor Series. That's definitely weighed it off now. But there we are. I said back then I can't get too excited for this Ziggler mini push because that's exactly what it was. It was a mini push, nothing else. And it is unfortunate that you have to consider Ziggler to be lucky to even be thought to have a match with Bryan at WrestleMania. I realistically, wouldn't it be great to feel as if this was a star-studded match? It feels as if Ziggler's lucky to get this match, in that sense, That's
True,
just me,
yeah.
you know.
So just like, wait, did it earn it? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah. WWE does their vignettes for Black History Month. They're talking about Junkyard Dog. I won't talk again about how I feel. I'm kind of on like the Morgan Freeman train of this being a little bit offensive, but um,
Yeah.
it's a shame actually that Junkyard Dog passed away too early. I feel that he could have been a really good agent or trainer for WWE down the line, and been a good testament as well to black wrestlers going forward.
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
he did break a lot of ground, I think, Junkyard
Yeah.
Dog.
Not going to deny that.
Yeah, definitely. Brock Lesnar, man, it is business time when Brock Lesnar
Rock.
comes out. Barock Lesnar, that's it.
Yeah.
I know it's not business time as in singing it, That was on the radio the other day as well, by the way. Very odd that you talk about that randomly on one episode and then it comes up on the radio. Just strange.
Yeah. Flight of the Conchords everywhere.
Yeah, that's our homework. If you haven't listened to it yet, go listen to it. You understand what we're talking about. Business time, Flight of the Conchords. But he's out of Paul Heyman. This is essentially the usual Brock Lesnar standing there looking menacing while Paul Heyman puts him over as if he is the disciple of Lord Savior himself in terms of professional wrestling.
You mean he's not?
Yeah, well, he makes me believe it. Heyman's that damn good at putting him over. Heyman first talks about the Brian Williams thing about lying about being in a helicopter and being shot at and stuff like that. I'm not going to get too much into that. But he says that they're just as much of a liar as Reigns and Brian is when they state they have any chance against Brock Lesnar. He also says that while Brian is technically sound and he's a miracle creator, he still stands no chance against Lesnar. And he says similar about Roman Reigns as well. And it's exactly what you come to expect from Paul Heyman. When he's got some sort of inspiration, some direction of where Brock is going, and you give him just even a small amount of time, just to go
That's
out
it.
there,
We just need to go out there and say this.
just
Done.
remind everyone why this guy is an ass kicking machine and that he's the beast. He'll do exactly that, and there's no one else in the world that can do what Heyman can do for Lesnar.
No.
It's amazing. It's funny. I could probably listen to a Heyman 3-hour promo just putting Lesnar over for 3 hours. I'd be happy with that.
That's it.
Yeah, he's that good. Here's the thing though: if he could pull off even half of the great work he's done for Lesnar for any of the other people that he's managed, WWE would have multiple stars right now.
Oh, you be careful with that.
Whoa, what do you mean?
Cesaro.
Yeah, but that's what I'm stating. That if he could have done all the work for Cesaro the way that he's done for Lesnar, then
You said if he could do half the work, and he kind of did.
I would state he didn't. I'd state he did very little work for Cesaro because the majority of the time he was putting over Brock Lesnar still. That was the main issue with that. But yeah, hopefully, because I think Brock is going after Mania. I do think he is going back to UFC. If Heyman does stick around, there's a chance he might not. But if he does stick around, hopefully he can do all this great work without any distractions of Brock being there, and he can get this new guy over as this huge star and put him over.
Somewhere that Brock might not be going.
There is always that chance. Yeah, I think he is going to UFC. But yeah, I do. I've been hearing some reports of stating that he's less likely to do it now than he was before, but I still think he will. That's just my opinion.
Just for like the schedule and the money is just so much better. It's like
and there is that he has a history there, and he came out of there with 2 horrendous losses against Velasquez and Overeem, Alistair Overeem. So there is question marks over that. So maybe him going back there and trying to right those wrongs in his head. Maybe he's got that in his head, but still. New Day against Gold and Stardust.
No one cared.
Yeah, new one. In regards to that. So
who cares?
Who
Who
cares?
cares?
There you go, Matt.
There we go.
You've
I was
got
trying
it.
to find a way.
Who cares? Yeah, we're gonna have to do that when they come out at the UK one that we're going to in London.
I'm getting the torch ready for the entrance.
Yeah. So while New Day are on the ring, they are dropping some infinite logic upon our candy asses by stating that Goldust and Stardust aren't really brothers, but the New Day are. I've got news for New Day. They are brothers.
Yeah,
Biologically.
it's quite. Everyone knows that they are related by blood.
Yeah, it's biologically that's a little bit dumb. I know what some people go, oh, well, because they're breaking up as a faction and the New Day are so close. Yeah, but it still came off like, really?
It's like they're not brothers, but they're brothers.
Yeah. It's just crazy, to be honest. Well, not crazy, it's boring, if I'm honest.
It's crazy. I'll go with crazy.
Yeah. Stardust walks away right from the beginning of the match, leading Kofi to use a variant of the most devastating finishing move in wrestling history, the roll-up pin. It was more of like a roll-up schoolboy to then him just flattening him on the floor sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know when Goldust hasn't really wrestled a match or broken a sweat, when after the match every single drop of ink on his face is completely intact.
Is perfect, yeah.
Yeah. Afterwards, he's looking at Stardust walking away, and literally nothing is out of place, and it's like, oh, he's barely wrestled it at all. I wonder, for people that I'd like to do, like ask, these guys that put on the paint on, like Goldust.
Like paint. Yeah.
If you feel really frustrated when you take all that time putting that paint on, and you have such a quick match, and then you're straight out of it, and it's like, what was really the point? But still.
I'd say it's like, I spent half an hour doing this, and I spent 5 minutes out there.
Yeah, it's just like, it makes no sense in that, in that sense. At least
I think we're referring to sort of like how annoying it must be when you've spent ages putting it on, and then suddenly you get backstage and it's just pretty much gone.
Well, at least then you've got your time worth out of it.
Like Baylor.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, I swear he had less this. I swear he had less this takeover than he had the previous one.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a much more physically taxing match, that one, than the one he had before. So yeah, Goldust and the Stardust kind of rivalry is definitely on the go, full on right now.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, Daniel Bryan was backstage with Renee Young, maybe trying out his Hey Girl Wet challenge, as we were saying earlier on.
Yeah.
Bryan says that he doesn't blame Reigns for his reaction earlier on the night. And then Reigns comes in and says, well, I can coexist with you as long as we take out the Authority. Leaves plenty of room for you and me to settle our issues. I thought it was okay. I thought this is more like Reigns 2014, with the stuff that worked. No nonsense. We'll get this done. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Is that the job? Right. Let's go.
Yeah. It's much more entertaining for him to watch that than him to go suddenly walks up to Bryan and be like, we can be like Jack and Jill. We'll go up the hill. We'll take down the Authority. And it's just like, I don't want any of this fairy tale shit anymore. Seriously, that one promo of him and Jack's Beanstalk and all that crap, just so much damage just done to him there.
Tripled.
They couldn't have written anything worse for him there. He may as well just come out and announce that his new gimmick is the Gender Bender. From
like he could have come out and just said and read Humpty Dumpty and sort of referred to Big Show as Humpty because of his big bald head.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that
oh no, I've given him ideas.
You've given him ideas. Oh no, next week. Oh dear. Afterwards, that Goldust is pissed at Stardust. He calls him Cody again, and then gets pushed into some of the backstage stuff for his troubles. And Stardust says again, Cody is dead. He's gone. And this will tease the future match. It does look like, I thought honestly that they might be making it that Goldust would be the one going heel, but it definitely looks like now they're going the other route with it. And maybe if this is the retirement match, don't know if it is, but if they are going the retirement match route with Goldust, then fair enough, make him the face. There's no problem with that.
Yeah, see him out strong.
Yeah. Triple H is out, and he's addressing the Sting issue. Now, this is a bit of a controversial topic. He says that he put in his blood, sweat, and tears have been put into WWE to make it a better place.
Never mentioned Eddie Seaman.
No. He didn't put his semen in the ring. He put his semen with. Let's not go there. Sheamus pay-per-view plot. But so he blames Sting for almost taking it away from him. He says that the last 14 years, Sting has just been afraid to face Triple H, and because Triple H would expose him. He calls him a coward. He says that if Sting agrees to leave forever, Triple H will let him leave with his dignity intact, and he demands an answer for him. I thought it was a pretty good promo at the beginning from him here. So here we go. Here's the part that really is, I'd say, interesting and a little bit touch embarrassing on WWE's part. I'll see what your thoughts are on it, Matt.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this. Yeah. The lights go out, a video package comes up, and it's like parts of the interview that Triple H has done, and what I thought was kind of cool is that they've kind of superimposed the a slight like
The face paint.
the face paint over his
Yeah,
face, which
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
was pretty cool. Um, and then it cuts off, and then like these figures show up in the crowd, and then suddenly like a like another video comes up stating, "Oh, Triple H," and it's like Sting calling him out, and then Sting comes out, right? It's Sting, it's totally him. He confronts Triple H and everything, like he's so there, and he's like the point of scaring Triple H to the ground. He's so scary, and they're gonna face to face, and then you realize, wait a minute, his hair is really fucking shiny and long all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, that's
Um,
clearly not him.
yeah, absolutely. I'm building up here. I knew it wasn't Sting from the moment he got into the ring. It was pretty obvious, I have to state.
Yeah.
A little bit too obvious, I would state. The camera angle really did expose the fact that it wasn't him. And you may be thinking, well, why did they do this if it wasn't him? Apparently, Sting is actually quite expensive to book. I didn't think he would be, but
Really?
yeah,
I'd
apparently.
imagine Sting to be quite expensive to book.
Well, no, the thing is, the reason I say that is because I think that at this stage of his career, Sting, in terms of exposure, needs WWE more than WWE needs him. You know, that's the way that I look at it.
Okay.
But yeah, I just thought that if they decide to go with this, why have the guy come in the first place? I thought it was a bit odd. But it looked really off from that point of view, and I get what they were trying to do, and I actually like the idea of it. I just think the execution was a bit off. If they wanted to do it, they should have had the camera angle from the back, and maybe have a different fucking hairstyle or wig or whatever he was wearing, because it just looked wrong. Um, Maybe in that sense, but I don't know about you, Matt. What did you think of the whole promo as a whole?
I'm kind of the same with you up until the guy got in the ring.
Yeah, yeah. The
It's just
idea
sort
of
of like,
it.
you're not Sting. Move on.
Yeah, yeah. It was painfully obvious that it wasn't him, and I think that it was it was done wrong. Look, I say wrong. The thing is I think maybe I'm looking at this a bit harshly because I did like the idea of the execution of it all. I really did.
Oh, I love the
But
spotlights all over the place and things like that. Like to the Sting of old, who spent a year, yeah, like hiding around in the pit in the like up in the racking and
the
all
rafters and
that.
stuff
In
like
the
that.
rafters, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. The idea of it was good. I think the execution was a bit off. But there we
Yeah.
are. Um,
And it kind of made Triple H look like a bit like a pussy.
yeah, but you know
No,
what?
you're clearly not Sting.
Yeah.
Jump out
I'll
the
flop to
skin
the
and
floor.
fall over.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Still, we'll see how it goes on from there. I think that the face to face they have will be pretty fun. I think it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, and then
Uso.
we just wait for Mania.
That's it. That's it. Usos versus Cesaro and Kid. I think it's hilarious how I get proved right a week after making a point. I think it's quite fun. Because remember last week we were stating that Dean Ambrose was stating, "Well, I beat the Intercontinental Champion, so I now I've earned a title shot."
Yep.
The commentary is stating here, "Oh, if Cesaro and Kid get a victory, then they might be in the running for a tag team title shot." Might be. There's a bit of setting a bit of an odd precedence there. I thought beating as we were told about last week, beating the champion in a non-title match, that guarantees you a title shot, doesn't it? Yeah, and I said it was stupid then, and it's stupid now because they just can't stick to their stipulations and rules and all this garbage.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, and another funny thing here as well is that Booker T tells us that the wrestlers, when it's time to get the work done, you need to leave your women at home. First of all, that's a little bit sexist, in my opinion.
And second of all, their women work there.
Yeah, and third of all, did he not bring out Charmel throughout the majority of his King Booker run? Throughout all of his matches?
Shh. That happened in like the Attitude Era. That didn't exist.
No. I just think it's funny that if any one of them else were making it, then fair enough. But it was Booker T.
The
Come
one
on.
guy who brought his wife in.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed this match, and while I did enjoy this match, I think the Usos, for me, are getting a little bit too formulaic. It's like they're overusing the super kick and the top rope planches, the splashes and stuff like that a little bit too much. It's like I've seen their playbook over and over a bit at this point. I do like them wrestling. It's just like, okay, what else have you got?
Oh, you're going to jump over the top rope again? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, you're going to do super kicks over and over again. What else do you have? Please show me. because
It's
maybe
basically pissed all over Shawn Michaels, though, hasn't it? It's just like, oh, super kick's your finisher. Everyone does them nowadays.
I still think that they should stop using it a lot and just give it to Tyler Breeze. He does the best one out of all of them by far. But still,
Agreed.
I think that's an argument for another time. Cesaro and Kid here, they get the victory, and apparently they might get a title match. So, of course, apparently beating the champions only might give you a title match.
Yeah.
And here we go. This will spark a little bit of a debate in our fans, I imagine. Rikishi is announced for the Hall of Fame. Now, let me state the moments I remember Rikishi mainly as being a part of Too Cool, being he was very over at that time, very entertaining in that role. It was a shame to me that his Hall of Fame induction video essentially completely revolved around the stink face.
Yeah.
Shoving his ass into people's faces. Not the entertaining appearances or some of the better physical matches. The guy could get around the ring really well.
He got thrown off a cage by the Undertaker.
Yeah, which was pretty savage at that time. No, the fact is they didn't focus on the guy's uncanny ability to get around the ring. For the size he was, he could do.
He was quick. Yeah.
He had a back spinning heel kick as one of his moves. Like, Jesus Christ, for a guy that size, that ain't easy. Yeah.
See, I ain't the size of Rikishi, and I can't do a back spinning heel kick.
Exactly. So. Here's the real argument. Has Rikishi done enough in his career to warrant a Hall of Fame induction? It depends on what Hall of Fame you're talking about. If it's the WWE Hall of Fame, as I said earlier, doesn't take that much to get in there. And arguably, he'll get in there, from what he's done, And the fact is, having the Usos there as well solidifies his legacy in terms of what...
Yeah, they mentioned that.
Yeah. But in a true wrestling Hall of Fame, and I mean this with the greatest respect to Rikishi, he doesn't deserve to be there. He wasn't that big of a star. He wasn't in WWE for that long. I think that he was never going to be... There was a time they were trying to push him as a top star, and it didn't work. And I don't think that he has done enough to warrant a Hall of Fame induction.
No.
That is my opinion. I completely understand and respect if people disagree with that. What is your opinion, Matt? Do you think he's done enough? Let's just take away the fact that it does seem like the WWE Hall of Fame is quite easy to get into. But do you think he should be inducted regardless?
No.
You're with me with no.
I'm with you. Especially considering they didn't play it up very well. Considering it's just like, look at this guy. He just had a big ass.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so Naomi's bound to get into the Hall of Fame at some point.
Yeah, because she's got a massive.
She got a big ass. But yeah, no, it's just sort of like, look at him because he was funny. He was good. No, just big ass, stuck it in your face.
Yeah. Now, arguably, if you look in terms of careers, right, in terms of longevity and if used for a certain role, Santino's higher on the list than Rikishi is.
Yeah.
Because Santino had a longer and arguably funnier career. And I say that's all arguable,
Yeah.
And
hey, we didn't have Rikishi dress up as a woman for a Miss WrestleMania match.
Yeah, but she did dress up like a woman to stinkface Eric Bischoff. Did you not remember that?
Yes.
So he's done the same thing.
Yeah.
So there is that. I'd like to hear our fans' thoughts on that. And do you think he's done enough to be inducted? He had one Intercontinental Championship run, and he was Tag Team Champion. That to me isn't enough.
He held minor titles a few times.
Yeah, and they weren't exactly that memorable either at that time. Be honest, yeah.
No.
And it's not as if WWE chose to focus on the good parts of his career and the acumen that he had. It was he shoved his ass into people's faces, and that's why he's got into the Hall.
That's
of Fame.
it.
He
got into the WWE. He's getting into the Hall of Fame because he got a big ass.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not so much that I'm not stating, that's the reason why. It's the way that that's the reason why WWE has made it look, and I think that's something off because he does have more than that. But there we go. Sin Cara versus Mizdow. I thought this was an interesting part. Mizdow tries to do his thing of copying the Miz here, but whenever he did any of the moves that the Miz does, Miz was got a mic in his hand. He's telling him, no, you're not allowed to do that. Can't do that. You're my personal assistant, not my bodyguard anymore. Not my bodyguard, sorry, my body double. My body double. My stunt double. And then, I thought there was a cool bit where Mizdow's on the outside and Miz is like, oh, I fancy a drink. Can you get a drink for me? Open it for me, please. And Miz was getting huge heat all the way throughout this match. He was getting booed more than anyone on the roster. He was doing fantastic. There was a point where like they kept chanting at him, and then he blasted their hometown. That's one of the things that he does pretty well. He thinks on his feet in terms of getting that quick heat.
He's good for heat, yeah.
Yeah. And he did his role fantastically here. It ended with Sandow going for the figure four leg lock. Miz told him, nope, you can't use that. And then Sin Cara basically then beats him there. He gets 2 wins in a row, Sin Cara. 2 Raws in a row. Lightning strikes twice. That's all I can say with that. But yeah, it's not a precursor to Sin Cara going anywhere, of course. It's more about
it's just like, don't forget about Sin Cara.
That's it.
I like that. It's just like, I think he was just there just so they could plug, because I remember during that match they plugged the NXT event.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. It would have been nice as well that if they had more reference towards the NXT stuff. They didn't say, oh, Sin Cara will be wrestling on Wednesday nights for the NXT Tag Team Champions. They never said anything like that, which is a bit odd.
No.
Wyatt's promo, continuing to tease the feud with The Undertaker. He's asking that people often wonder what happens when they die, but Wyatt and him, in quotation marks, knows the truth.
Yeah.
He pities him and then screams for him to find him. I thought it was a great promo. I'm kind of making fun of it for no reason, but it looks as if Wyatt has been given something to inspire him with these promos, and now he's got a little bit of direction with the promos he's doing. Often before, it used to be just odd ramblings that he used to do, and it was getting stale. I'm enjoying what he's doing now, so
I'm loving this promo.
Yeah. I know that I think it was Pirate Hunter who was talking about the Wyatt and Undertaker thing. He was saying that he wasn't enjoying the promos, so I did read that comment, and I enjoy what he's doing at the moment, at very least.
Yeah.
Curtis Axel against Ambrose. Axel
for some reason.
Yeah, that's it. Axel tells us that not even Kanye West can steal the spotlight from him. I'm going to stop you right there, Curtis Axel. Beyonce totally deserved to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Right?
Jesus. She want to put a ring on it. A wrestling ring.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm going to stop you right there, That's it. This match was
dirty for saying.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm going to make a Kim Kardashian reference in a minute. So there you are.
He's got a big ass.
Big ass. Which ass is bigger, Rikishi's or Kim Kardashian? Still. I'm sure there's a few people out there who wouldn't mind Kim Kardashian shoving her ass into people's faces.
Stink face. Yeah.
Not particularly me. I don't find it that attractive, but that's just me.
Nah.
So Ambrose deals with Axel pretty quickly. Dirty deeds, then it's done. He cuts a promo after the match saying he won't stop until he's got an IC title match. Barrett appears on the screen with his new BNZ gimmick. I fucking hate that, personally. I don't know about you, Matt.
Do you not like it?
I don't like it at all.
I like it.
Do you? Okay.
It's that proper just like fucking TMZ just posting up everything. Sod it. We'll just mock it.
No. I thought the whole bad news thing was still okay. I just don't think there's as much to it personally. And they're going forward trying to put all the different stuff. He's got his own bad news zone, stuff up, and I'm sure he's doing loads of stuff for the network and all that crap. You know what? Let me just say, I won't make a reference. I won't say categorically that I despise it. I didn't like it here, but it's still got, it's only 1 week of me seeing it, so.
I was going to say, you better not hate it, because I got a bad news Barrett wristband now.
Oh dear. Well, I don't mind Barrett. I just think the BNZ stuff is a bit too much, but that's So he says, while Kim Kardashian ripped off Ric Flair's robe, that doesn't make her a champion like Flair. And Ambrose doesn't, just because he, is essentially Ambrose is by proxy kind of the same. He's not worthy of an IC title match. He says that, essentially he's saying that he's not going to get a match for the IC title. That's essentially how it goes.
Long and short of it.
So yeah, we'll see how this whole BNZ stuff goes along there. But I think Ambrose and
to be fair, I like it because simply enough, it was that or we carry on him turning up on a podium.
I was fine with the podium. I thought he was making it entertaining at a point. But
yeah.
Still, we'll see. Then we come to the main event. I know the podcast has been getting lengthy. We're almost there, guys. Reigns and Bryan against the Authority. And I say it's a match. It wasn't so much a match as if the pair was being brutalized at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a shame they don't have Cena on their team because he fucking loves handicap matches. He can just dominate all of the handicap matches. One thing I have to say is that with Rollins here, by what I've heard in the timeline, he was aware of the Twitter stuff going on when he came out to do this match. And one thing I have to, if that is the case, I have to give praise because he handled himself like a professional. I don't think I would have been able to knowing that shit was going on.
What, knowing that your dick was all over the internet by that
Yeah,
point?
essentially, like
Yeah.
he works probably better here, which is ironic. He was
Anger could work. It's like,
yeah.
God, so fucking. Oh, I'm gonna kick someone.
Yeah.
You.
Ooh, I'm in a match, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was in this position, I probably wouldn't have been as mentally checked in as he was. So kudos to him for at least, giving the fans there as good a performance as he could. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Considering how well Noble and Mercury seem to be able to perform, I'm like, we'll just make them a joke tag team. The tag team division needs something. Just make
Yeah.
them a tag team. They could probably work well. So as the pair are just getting annihilated, just getting destroyed, Ryback, Ziggler, and Rowan come in for the rescue. This leads to Daniel Bryan using his top rope drop kick, the standing one that me and Matt have stated before, that we hope he stops using. And he used it again here. I'll stand by it. I cringe when his back lands like that on the mat
Yeah,
after that
it's so
standing drop kick.
flush, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
did you forget your back, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was one of the moves that gradually whittled away at his neck, and I just don't want to see him doing it any further. So as he's got the match where he needs it, Reigns tags in away from him, gets the spear, and then steals the pinfall. It came off a little bit as heel. I won't deny that. Some people got a bit too excited. Saw this as a precursor to him becoming a heel. I don't think that's the way it is. I think they're trying to make him a little bit more. I said once before that maybe the way that you get Reigns over is by him being a little bit of a dick, a little bit of an asshole, making him a shade of grey. I don't see this as him becoming heel or a heel turn. I just think this is him putting down his marker, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, people perceived it as a heelish thing. Like I said, I agree with that. But it's not him turning heel. I don't see that being the case. At very least, not yet, The pair argue afterwards, and then Reigns goes, okay, I'm going to spear you as well. And he gets booed to shit for it. But to be honest, he got booed for coming out earlier on anyway, so it wasn't that much of a difference.
He just got booed for being there.
Yeah. You know what? Some people are like very much into, this isn't working, this isn't working. I don't know. I'm a little bit excited for a Bryan Reigns match, even though I do know that Reigns will win and he'll go on. But I just think that Bryan's going to give us the best Roman Reigns match we've ever seen. I do think that will be the case.
They'll drag it out.
Yeah. So maybe I'm looking at it a little bit more positively than the majority of people do. But you know what? This Roman Reigns is far more interesting than the Roman Reigns we were getting the weeks beforehand, though. Him doing these things, I'm okay with that. That kind of makes me like, okay, fair enough, this guy means business, doesn't matter. Back in the day,
cool, I'm good.
Back in the day, Steve Austin didn't matter if you were a face or a heel, you're in his way, you were going to get stunned. That was the bottom line, and people loved him for it. I know it's a different audience now, I'm not naive, but I do think making him this little bit of shade of an asshole, making him an ass kicker of everyone, doesn't matter if you're face or heel, is going to be much better for him in the long term.
Yeah.
So, that's the way it goes. Are you agreed with that, or how did you perceive the ending?
I want him to just be what needs to work.
Yeah. So if you think, okay, if they're booing him, just go full on heel, just do it.
Yeah, just let it happen.
Yeah.
The crowd are like, oh, we like listening to the crowd. Cool. Then listen to the crowd. They don't like him. Just give him a reason.
Wouldn't it be good afterwards? I mean, one of the ways that I think that they could eventually go down is making Reigns a heel and then pairing Paul Heyman up with him to do the talking. Goodness, they could get a lot of heat.
Oh.
Yeah, they could get a bag of heat if done correctly.
Yeah.
Especially with him as the champion. But that's still, that's just an option. I don't think they'll go that route, but that's an option. So all in all, this show, reviewing it all in all, last week was more of a really bad first hour and then it picked up afterwards. This was overall a little bit more of a stronger show throughout. And there were a lot of decent matches. There wasn't, like last week's Bryan versus Rollins match was better than anything that we had on this show. But the overall show, I think, had a little bit more to it. It was a bit more interesting.
I think this one was just more consistent through and through.
Yeah, I think it was a solid mid-monther. We've blasted mid-monthers before, but I think this episode was all right.
Yeah,
It wasn't anything spectacular, but I think it was okay. I think it had some parts here that people would be okay with watching. It was nowhere close to what NXT does, but realistically, that's not exactly going to stop the presses. Everyone knew that was going to be the point anyway. But
that's it.
I think
It's like the one thing I love is like on the NXT show they were posting up. Oh, sorry. Like little bits of just sort of like, oh, the future of wrestling's in good hands. Well, yeah, if they let them do it.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I said, I might be one of the minority, but I am slightly looking forward to the Reigns Bryan match because I do think that it will be Bryan doing the Bret Hart effect and giving Roman one hell of a match, and making him look really good as well. Because
It adds something, doesn't it?
yeah, a little bit. And the fact is, that is the main event because they don't have anything else really that can fit that.
There's no title, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Fastlane doesn't look like that big of a show, and we all knew that going in anyway. That's just the way it is. But no, I thought the show was okay. If you're going to catch this show, I advise. Last week I said just miss the first hour because the first hour is fucking horrendous. Really, here I can't see there's anything that bad.
It's that sort of you may as well watch it all.
Yeah, it's all right. Is there anything else you want to cover overall, or shall we wrap up? I know we're over 2 hours now.
I have nothing else really to add. I mean, it's just there was a few moments where I was just sort of like, I wish commentary team would shut up. But hey,
yeah, there was a few mindless moments like, oh, look at his boots, they're so dumb, and it's like that's a tribute to a wrestler,
yeah,
who died, who was murdered, no less.
Yeah, let's not forget that.
Yeah. So that's our show for the week. I hope you guys did enjoy episode 62 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. If you're new to the show, then we would urge you to subscribe. That way you can catch every single episode each weekend as we go about our work. If you want to follow us on Twitter, Matt will obviously Twitter on there. You can answer any of your questions or anything along those lines, or bring the questions to the podcast. That's at Talk Wrestle Pod, and you can see all the tweets up on there. Matt, I do urge you to post up your super cards.
Go on. Do it now.
Yeah, go on, do it. There you go. You've got something, guys, to go up on our Twitter account for. And like I said, if you do want to leave any questions, then leave them in the comments or send them to us on Twitter. We'd be more happy to answer them. But apart from that, thank you guys for supporting the show. We are over 225 subscribers now. We seem to be the acceleration of the show is going way more faster than we
picking up.
Yeah. So we will hit 300 way quicker than I originally thought. I thought what we wanted to get is the ultimate goal is to get 400 by 100 episodes. I'm pretty sure we'll be past that the way things are going. So that's great.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for supporting the show. We wouldn't be here without you guys constantly supporting us. We do appreciate it. But for now, we'll catch you next week. We hope you have a great week. We hope you guys did enjoy the NXT special as well. So we'll catch you guys next time.
We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.